Welcome back to Splice Splatter, the film podcast presented by us. We're classic horror.
Meets modern gore, and we're your hosts. I'm Al.
I'm Siena, and Happy New Year,
Happy New
y'all!
Year!
Happy 2026. I have never been gladder to see a year in the rearview mirror. It is...
Same.
Yeah, I'm 20... I love also the fact that it feels like 2025 was like the worst year for everybody. Like,
Right?
It truly, just seeing people on the internet, how much celebration there is for the year being over and how little joy it brought all of us. I'm like, 2026 has to be better. And just by that standard alone, it can't be worse. So
if it is, god damn.
If it is, we'll have to admire the universe's creativity, if nothing else.
I know, I'm glad it's one of those things where it's so nice not to be like we're not alone in these feelings, but also at the same time,
how did everybody have the worst year? Yeah. So it definitely, like, I'm glad that we're all like waking up from the hangover of 2025 and like in a fresh new. I also like that it's an even number that feels like, I don't know, feels nice. I like 26, feels like a good omen. Yeah.
Yeah. And Year of the Horse is supposed to be really good, which I know that doesn't start till February, so I think we still have some time. But
True. We've got a little bit of a hangover of, I think it's the Year of the Snake still, and I saw somebody saying somewhere that the worse your Year of the Snake is, the better your Year of the Horse is going to be. So let's all look forward, to a fantastic Year of the Horse, off to the races.
Yeah, truly. Yeah, I am like my zodiac is Snake.
Oh,
but man, it did me dirty.
No,
so a lot of good, a lot of change. But yeah, I hope as this comes out, this can be at least like all of our kickoff to onwards and upwards,
or onwards and downwards, as the films would have it.
Yeah, we really picked some. Speaking of depressing, we picked.
Honestly,
for my mental state this week, probably the worst films for us to
fair, but also like so applicable. Like so it really was like perfect timing again for the year everybody's just had, and like gearing ourselves up for a new one. Like the only way out is down, y'all.
Truly, down and through, and
down
I think we're
yeah.
So yeah, you're right. They're pretty perfect.
Isn't that actually the tagline for your film? The only way out
is down.
Yes,
the only way out is down.
Yeah. Yes. Which also, I have to take a moment to admire, like, especially the poster of your film is so genius. The upside down Eiffel Tower, like,
yeah. A lot of the graphics in these. So yeah, As Above, So Below is what we finally got to talk about these two films, which is As Above, So Below, and then you're doing Descent, which is like truly one of my favorite like depressing movies to watch.
I adored it. I'm sure that's no surprise. I'd said on our last episode that it's one that I'd been like saving for myself as a special treat, knowing we'd cover it on the pod, and also knowing that it would be really up my alley, because as everybody knows, I love a sad horror film. I love a horror film that's like about trauma. And so this was right up my alley in so many ways. And also I'm so glad that you suggested As Above, So Below, because I actually had not heard of it, and it really was like such a good pairing for so many obvious reasons, and I'm sure probably I don't know, I feel like it seems like the kind of movie where they were really inspired by The Descent. I don't know if that's accurate, but
yeah, I actually don't have that in as a reference from them, but
interesting.
I wonder if that's because they were too worried. Well, I definitely have some good kind of inspo stories for this one. Descent was not one, but I'm assuming people was like maybe a little too close,
too on the nose,
or like
too
people
obvious.
People might talk about them in conversations,
which I could also understand, especially because The Descent is so, like, even though there's critters, like, it's still so much what makes it scary is the realism, whereas yours is so supernatural. It's so much about, you know, like Nicholas Flamel and alchemy and all of these things that are, it's a very different brand of scary, and so I could imagine them not wanting to like conflate the two also.
Yeah, very different cores.
Yes, good choice of words there.
You know.
Yeah, as we're going into the Earth's core. Or into hell in yours.
No, straight to hell.
Yeah.
Straight to hell. We're gonna
Oh my
dig our way
God.
back out.
Which
So.
also, this is like the only scientific gripe that I'll give for the entire episode because it applies to both of our films. I was driven crazy by the math of how deep they were going in both of them. Like,
Sure.
in mine, they say that they're 2 miles underneath the surface of the earth, and I'm like, you'd be dead. Like, that's not possible.
I know. I wonder. I actually didn't look up like how deep these are. Trav, I might have you drop in the chat for mine when we get to my
To as
like
above.
midway. But yeah,
because I know they were saying in yours like thousands of feet, and I'm like, can you really? Because okay, I don't know that much about this, but I kept thinking about scuba divers and being like, wouldn't you like?
Sure.
Wouldn't the pressure make your eardrums burst if you were actually that deep underground?
Listen, as someone who like when it's 2 a.m. and I cannot sleep, looks up spelunking like cave
Oh
diving
God,
videos,
Al.
but specifically stories of like traumatic stories of people getting stuck, some who make it out, some who do not. I'm horrified by
Oh my God.
anything that is like, if I don't want to go underground, period. I don't want something over my head that is the ground.
Right.
I don't want it.
Right. So
I don't like car garages that go underground.
I
That
relate to
freaks
that.
me out
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm like, how is this
Yeah,
okay to do this?
Even like downtown Santa Fe going into the garage next to the movie theater, which goes like 3 floors down. I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here.
Yeah, this feels and is wrong to me. So I don't care, Siena, if it's 1 feet or it's thousands.
It's wrong.
I don't think as human beings we should be doing that.
Strongly
period.
Agree. Glad we can get that out of the way at the beginning.
Yeah. So no matter what, to your point, no matter what, it shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't happen. We shouldn't be doing that. Human beings are not made to do that. You know who is? Is the crawlers from my film. That's who should be under the ground and nobody else.
Those little cutie patooties that I love.
Oh my God, they're
so
adorable.
Much. They're so cute.
They make cat noises. That was like the thing that I couldn't get past was like their little cries to each other. They're like,
I know. And they're kind of just chilling and just see, they are not the problem, right? It's like people who are like going to the ocean, like, oh, there's shark infested waters. I'm like, that is their home.
And actually, that is their home. The director agrees with you, so we'll get to that. But yeah, that's very much like something that he talks about is like they're not the villains, the women are the villains.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, should we dive in, literally?
Yeah, we should go down. So,
do you have a tidbit to kick us off with? Because I know you're going first.
Yeah, so kind of have a tidbit. We mentioned the tagline earlier for my film, so the only way out is down. People have actually pointed out that there is a similar poster tagline used for a 2003 science fiction movie called The Core. It's where explorers venture deep into the earth. And has this kind of same Paris setting as Above, So Below, but their tagline was the only way out is in. So a little bit inverse, which I think is really cool. I've not seen The Core.
That is okay, super interesting, particularly because my film also has a film that was released around the same time with like very similar subject matter that it was trying to beat to theaters. So
funny.
Yeah, not quite the same thing, but yeah, put a pin in that idea because there's a parallel. Yeah. Get the pinhead ready.
I love that. That's really cool. They're also I think we'll jump into it now and we'll get into it a little bit later, but the tagline is obviously also reference to Dante's Inferno in the film, which the film is very much centered around. We will go through kind of all of those nods to it.
I'm so excited.
I know, it's really, really cool. So Latope in the film, he also says the only way out is down. Obviously, if you guys are not familiar, Virgil tells Dante, for the only way out of hell is to climb down Satan himself. So, yeah. So those are kind of the two things, but
it very much like follows the geography of Dante. That idea of
which is so gross.
It's
to me.
It
really icks me out.
Have you read the Inferno?
I have not, but now this is the second film that I've covered that's dealt with it. The House that Jack Built was the other one I covered.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, which is the one? Jacob's Ladder, also lots of Inferno references.
Oh yes,
too.
Yeah.
It's a big thing in horror movies in general. I think you'd really dig it. Actually,
I have to at this point because
I think so.
I like all of the films we've covered that have been related, and also like. To your point too, I forgot that Jacob's Ladder was also kind of following that same thing because I'm a little bit more familiar with the story now. I will say when we were doing The House That Jack Built, I was so out of my depth for that movie that I'm like, okay, I gotta read this
Gotta brush up on
source
the
material.
Dante.
Yeah.
I
So,
unfortunately have 3 copies, so if you want one, I'm
oh
happy
my
to send you a
God.
Dante.
Book club.
Book club! Oh my god, honestly, Splice and Splatter book club starting with Dante's Inferno would go so hard.
It'd be pretty great, to
Yeah,
be fair.
I'm very into that idea.
If
Put
anyone
a
wants
pin
to
in
join,
that.
we
Put a
should do
pinhead
that.
in that. Love that. I also have kind of like a marketing tidbit that like I wanted to start us off with just because, as I told you beforehand, I brought in photos. So I figured it would be
Yes.
easier to do the show and tell at the beginning before we like dive in
Oh.
real deep.
Yeah.
Because it's about the poster for my film, which is, oh my god. So, Travis, please reveal to Al, or Al, please reveal to yourself the 2
Yes.
photos that I've just sent you. So the
Yes.
first one
Okay.
is going to show you the poster of The Descent next
Yep.
to a black and white photo. This photo is Philippe Halsman's 1952 photograph In Voluptas Mors, which is it a lot of people attribute it to Salvador Dali. It
Right.
is not taken by Salvador Dali, but he is in the photo. He's the guy in the top hat sitting next to this skull. For those of you who are just listening and not watching, it is a skull made out of the bodies of women, and the poster for The Descent recreates this. However, this isn't just a fun little art history tidbit. It also connects to a film that I believe we're going to cover in February. Because, Al, if you
Swipe.
now, swipe to your next photograph,
Oh,
that
right.
image, the
What?
skull, the Involuptus Mors skull that they recreate on the poster of The Descent is actually the tiny little skull used on the skullhead moth in Silence of the Lambs.
I never
I had no idea.
fucking knew that.
I didn't either.
Sienna, I just zoomed in so fast on my phone. I have never noticed that.
Neither did I.
Shut the up.
Well, and I've always thought, that Silence of the Lambs poster is so iconic. The moth is so creepy, but like we see the moth in the film and it doesn't look quite like that, right? That's why. It's because they're using a different skull, and it's that same skull that The Descent also recreated.
Am gagged.
Yay!
Is this common knowledge? I feel like this isn't common knowledge. I've never seen anyone talk about that before.
And
I've never zoomed in.
The only reason I knew this was because as I was Googling In Voluptas Mors in order to like do the side-by-side for The Descent, pictures from Silence of the Lambs kept coming up, and I was like, why is this happening? And so then I Googled In Voluptas Mors Silence of the Lambs and found it through that. Yeah. I had no idea.
That has me gagged.
Yeah. So,
first gag of the year.
Yay!
That's insane.
Isn't that it just like makes me love both movies all the more. Like it's the fact that they have this tie via art history to each other is just like it gave me chills.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get over that information. That's amazing.
I felt like we needed like a good meaty tidbit to start the year off, right?
Damn. Okay. Shit. Now I got to do my notes. Great. Thank you for that setup of a really cool fact.
Well, I mean, again, your film has like such an iconic poster. It's like it very much, which I'm also like, it feels to me like the end of your film and the poster are almost setting up a sequel. I don't know if that was their intention or not, but like it very much, spoiler alert, like it very much leaves me with the implication that when they have come out through the other side, they are not in regular Paris, they're in hell or like an inverted Paris.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way to take that.
And so I'm like, I'm kind of curious now what the version of them exploring this inverted hell Paris would be like.
Right? Ooh. Well, no one's done it yet, so
there you go.
If you want to do it, grab it.
Makers of As Above, So Below. Anybody interested in a remake? A sequel?
Listen, we're going to talk about them. We can jump in because I feel like I feel like I've been fortunate where a lot of the directors I have are like seem like pretty chill people, at least on the surface. Like if they've done something problematic, don't at me. I don't fucking go looking for that information. It will come up though if they are.
True.
So Diving in. I don't know how to get
Yes.
past that fact for it's gonna live rent free in my head.
I'm so happy. I'm glad that like hit you the way it hit me because I was like I can't stop thinking about it. That fucking
I was like, for
love,
everyone,
man.
yeah, for everyone listening, when I went quiet, I
Yeah.
was just my mouth was agape
Yes,
because I
yeah.
actually didn't know how to process it. Like, I don't know how to process it.
Yay! So glad we got an
That's so
open mouthed
cool.
owl
That's
for
so
the start of
cool.
the year.
And it won't shut up from here on
Yay!
out.
Fantastic.
So writer director, we have
Mhm.
John. They put his full name.
Mhm.
John Dowdle is his
Oh.
name. I will be referring to him as Director John from
Great.
here on out.
Fantastic.
So this is actually his third found footage film following the
Oh.
Poughkeepsie tapes, which I still have not seen from 2007.
Oh, I haven't seen
Have
it
you
either,
seen
but
it?
I've heard it's amazing. Like
Yeah,
I've
I
heard
heard it's great.
yeah. I've heard
And
such good things
then
about it. I definitely feel like we
yeah.
should cover it at some point because
Oh,
it's been described to me as one of the most unnerving found footage horrors that a lot of my friends have ever seen.
people really talked about that one when it came out,
Yeah,
and
like it
I'm
it
shocked
hit
that it's
people hard.
2007.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So
So
definitely need to
he
cover
did
that at some
that.
point.
Oh yeah, we're gonna we also might have to cover his other film, Quarantine,
I've seen
because it's
Quarantine.
yeah.
Oh
So it's
my
the
god.
Quarantine and Wreck. I feel like obviously they're shot for shot, but maybe these two together. I
I
don't
had
know.
no idea that was him because Quarantine,
Me either.
God, I haven't seen that since high school. Weirdly, okay, I've talked a little bit about my high school film teacher on this podcast because he
Mm-hmm,
like
mm-hmm.
for a semester we didn't have the equipment we were supposed to have, so he just showed us oh my gosh, how am I blanking on the name of the most famous found footage of all time? Oh my god.
Oh my God.
Ah,
I remember you talking about this too,
ah,
and now I've just
ah.
like completely blanked.
Blair Witch Project. He just like showed
Oh
us
yes, yes, yes,
Blair
yes, yes,
Witch
yes.
Project like over and over for like a semester. The only other film that we watched in that class was Quarantine. So like clearly
Funny.
the guy had a thing for found footage horror, but like I haven't seen it
Yeah.
since then. And I
I
would
would
really like to revisit it now that I'm not like a 13-year-old with like
so
half a
close to
brain
it.
formed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, so I mean, he's done like these two I think to kick off and then go into As Above. I don't know. I feel like
wow.
for a writer director to do 3 films with the same, I mean, found footage is tough on its own,
It
and then having
is.
like 3 really famous,
That's
well
really
received found
That's
footage films is
really
insane.
impressive. Yeah, especially because like I think the hardest thing about found footage is that it's so easy for it to become formulaic or for it to start
Yes.
feeling visually samey.
Yes.
And
Put a pin in that. We will
mm,
briefly talk about that.
fantastic. Yeah,
But yeah,
it
so
just it even just like from the little that I'm remembering of Quarantine, it looked very, very different from this. And so
oh,
I feel
absolutely.
like he really and the little bits I've seen of the Poughkeepsie tapes look different from the other two. So he really does manage to create a specific unique visual atmosphere for each of
Mhm.
his found footage films, and that's pretty admirable.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I was kind of again like you, I didn't know he had done these. He
That's
also
so
did the film
cool.
Devil from 2010, which was
Oh,
also I think pretty well received as well for the time.
is that
Um
is that the one that's written by M. Night Shyamalan? Or is that a different devil?
it's like produced. Yes, you're thinking of the right
Yes.
one. I don't
Okay,
know if it's
great.
like produced or written
The
by or
one that's
something, but
it's
yeah.
like in an
Yeah.
elevator is
Yep.
kind of the
Yep,
okay,
yep,
yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Cool.
also did that. So
Interesting. So he's a
that
horror guy.
he is a horror guy and so
Love.
cool. And so I say he's writer director like I said. There was
Mhm.
another writer, Drew Dowdle, his brother. And so the
Aw.
two of them work okay, Trav confirmed M. Night Shyamalan did co-write The Devil, so or
Fantastic.
Devil.
Cool. Cool, cool, cool.
So he works with his brother. They've collaborated. Usually John writes and or directs and co-writes while Drew produces and co-writes. So that's really their
Oh.
relationship. Drew's like,
Love.
I'm good in the background, leave me back here. I know my
Mhm.
place.
Mhm.
They also created the TV show Waco. Do you remember this? I had
Oh,
Michael
yes.
Shannon
I
from like
haven't seen it, but I
2018.
remember I think it was really well received and I definitely saw
Yeah.
ads for it at the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I never watched it either.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize they were creators on that show. So
Interesting. That makes me
kind of
more curious about watching it actually, because like
especially with Michael Shannon. I forgot it was
yeah,
Michael
our
Shannon.
horror king.
I love him.
He's
He's
so
so
good.
weird.
He's so what a
He's
weird guy.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that is the Dowdle
Oh
brothers,
my
as people
god.
like to call them. I feel very weird saying their last name for some reason. I feel like I'm gonna mess it up at some point. So They're just
the brothers.
John and Drew.
John
yeah,
and
the brother and the brothers. That's what I have in my notes.
Fantastic.
So, we'll kind of talk a little bit more about them and kind of the concept for the script later.
Cool.
We're going to get right into starring. So we have Perdita Weeks, which is a beautiful name, as
Gorgeous.
Scarlet. So she is the girl we follow. I think she is an insufferable lead character, if I'm honest.
Oh my God. Yeah, I could not stand her. So glad that you felt
okay,
the same.
Great. The internet feels the same. Bless her.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's super nice. She was in Ready Player One. She was in fucking Spice World. I gotta rewatch. Spice World's so hard to find online. I have to get the DVD again. But she's in Spice World, so icon for that.
Yeah.
She was in 4 episodes of Penny Dreadful, and she was also Juliet Higgins in 96 episodes of Magnum PI. So if you've seen that show or watch shows like that, you absolutely know who she is.
Interesting. Well, like I'll say off the bat, I was not annoyed. It wasn't her performance that was annoying. It was like who the character is. Like I think she did the absolute best she could with what was given to her.
Yeah, her character needed to be
different.
Different. So set on the goal that there was who cares who was sacrificed, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
So ate that shit up. Just annoying character.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So they kind of the brothers talked about wanting someone for this role. Again, put a pin in this. Scarlet was obviously who carries us through this story. So they spent a lot of time working on her character and the development. So they were very much like, we have to find our Scarlet. So they were looking for someone who, quote, not only you would love to take a road trip with, lies, or watch a baseball game with, but someone that I know, but someone that you would believe was smart enough to the point of genius and also funny and not just like put on glasses or take off glasses and like a pretty girl. So they were looking for someone that, you know, I feel like the best iteration of that is what's her name from The Mummy, I would say.
Oh, yeah, Rachel
actually
Weisz.
eats up that role.
Yes. That's what it should
when
be.
I hear these characters.
Well, you know what I think it is I feel like the way that Rachel Weisz is characterized in The Mummy, she's allowed to be a know-it-all. And I think that's part of what like I struggled with this character was like she felt like a bit of a Mary Sue to me, like somebody who's too perfect. She knows all of the things. She's such a good person. She's so like everything is just exactly right. And I'm like, I want her to have more flaws.
Yeah, where's that flaw? Which it takes us all the way to the end before we even get see
the flaws.
That payoff of the flaw.
Exactly.
So that's who they were looking for. They auditioned around 300 actresses before landing on Perdita.
Wow.
But it's kind of funny because how they found her, she had sent in different audition tapes. One where she had blonde hair, one where she had brown. I don't know if she maybe fucked up one, did another. The brothers saw those tapes separately, saw a different one. We're like, hey, I found the girl. Look at this tape. And they showed each other the same girl.
That's really cool. That's super fucking cool.
Both tapes, whether she sent in 2 to be like, ooh, let me give them a different take, or like, ooh, I fucked the first one up. Either way, they both saw something in both of those audition tapes that they really liked, which I think is so funny.
I also just like, I have to like give a little note about her name because I'm pretty sure Perdita means like the lost one. And I'm like, what a great name. What a great name for somebody playing this role. Like
I was going to say, it's not only a beautiful name, but if it has a meaning like that behind it, double amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that.
Well, because like perder is to lose. So like Perdita, I think would be like the lost one. So
yeah.
Anyway, just loved that.
Yeah. And then our last name is Weeks.
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
incredible.
Okay, great. That's a whole sentence.
Truly.
It's amazing. We have Ben Feldman as George, so he's kind of like the love. I love him so much.
Him. Are you a Superstore watcher?
No, I don't have that even listed.
Oh my God, that's what I know him from.
Shut up! Everyone knows him from something different. I am convinced.
So funny.
Everyone knows him from something different.
Wow, I adore this man. I think he's so funny in Superstore. He's like very good at being like the straight man in a comedy, and like being the straight man is often the hardest role.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Adore him. I was going to say that's what he plays in like everything. So he's in Cloverfield. That's what some people might recognize him from. I wrote down, I first was introduced to him in Hilary Duff's The Perfect Man.
Oh my God,
which I
amazing.
just rewatched, and it's so good. And he's such a cutie. He's also Michael Ginsberg in Mad Men, which I'm doing a rewatch of right now. He's so, again, he plays like so many different characters. And then he's like, He's in the new show I Love LA, which I think everyone should
Desperately
watch,
need to
especially
watch. Yeah.
especially if you like, I lived in LA for 11 years, and it's so like, it both is the most true thing, and, like, it's also not the most true thing depending on the life you lived in LA, but he
Mhm.
has a character in it that's so funny. It's just one episode. And then he's kind of like a voice actor guy. He's in the TV series of Big Hero 6. He's in the
Oh.
Monsters Inc. TV show Monsters at Work, which I
Aw.
think is really cool. He does a bunch of like side, because I'm like, what does he like
What's he
do? I feel like I
do?
can't
Yeah, I
peg
can't pin
him
him
in
down.
anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which
And
is
then he's
really
in
cool.
this.
Interesting.
So,
Yeah,
and
very
then he's in
varied
Superstar, which I've
career.
never
Yeah.
seen.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, which like, like sitcoms set in basically Walmart. Like it's so
Oh,
yeah.
fun. Oh
Yeah.
my God, I could see him in a role like that.
He's so funny. Well, and I think he's very good at playing like a certain I say this again as somebody who is both Jewish and not neurotypical. He's very good at playing like a certain kind of Jewish neuroses that I relate to very intensely.
Sure. Sure.
That's just like,
That's so
oh man,
funny.
does he get it just right?
You're like, "Why is that? Why is he that is that a mirror held up
Yeah,
again?"
literally.
Am I seeing my own reflection in the TV, or what's going on?
Mhm. And I think
That's
there's
so
like
funny.
there's some of that in this character too, of like this
Oh,
guy
I mean,
who,
yeah.
yeah, like is like breaking into clock towers to repair them, but like can't
Yeah.
stand to go underground. Yeah.
Yeah, but then, like, kind of just accepts it and just, like, goes
Yeah.
forth, but, like, it's still,
Mhm.
like, a little, like,
Is still gonna
something behind the
complain the
eyes.
whole goddamn way. Yeah.
So good. Oh, I'm pretty sure everyone has, like, one thing they know him
That's
from.
so
He's kind of
funny.
like that guy, but
Yeah.
he's memorable no matter what, like, you know
Yeah.
him from something, you kinda spot him. So, love him. We
Mhm.
also have Edwin Hodge as Benji. Poor Benji.
Poor
Um,
Benji.
he gets, like, stuck immediately,
Benji has
which
the
is, like,
worst time in this movie. Like
I think I might have it in later. I do have it in later, so put a pin in it. He also seemed to have the worst time on set. Poor
oh
buddy. So
no,
I
poor
think
Benji.
there was minimal acting going on for
Oh
poor
dear.
Benji, who I really, God, I was rooting for him the whole
I was
time.
too.
He was one of the
Yeah.
few characters that did not irritate the hell out of me, and I'm like, I need
Yeah.
you to make this through because you are me.
I know, poor Benji. Yeah,
You are me.
I feel like we need to do
Justice
that
for Benji.
for both of these films. It's like which character are you on each of these journeys?
I'm
You're
Benji.
Benji? Yeah, I'm George.
Or
I'm
there's
definitely George.
I think Zed also is like constantly in the
Mm-hmm.
background with his eyes, like, what the fuck? And
Yeah.
I'm also him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
I'm
Um,
definitely the
s
one who's like going along the whole time but complaining the whole way and saying I'm not gonna
yeah,
do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That seems fitting for the 2
Mm-hmm.
of us. You can
Yeah.
get us through. I'm just gonna, scream about how this was an awful
Fantastic.
idea to start.
Yep. 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 Yep.
So, Edwin Hodge, he is Danny in Bumblebee, so the, like, Transformers spinoff.
Oh.
He's Dante in Purge Election Year, and as I scroll through his credits on IMDb, he's also in 2 other Purge movies as completely different
Oh.
characters in both, like, very much, like,
Whoa.
background characters. I don't even think one has a
Interesting.
name, but I think
Interesting.
that's
That's
so funny
cool.
that he's
That's
in
really
3
cool.
Purge movies
Yeah. They were just like, this
and, like,
person
worked his
lives
way
in our
up.
universe.
Yeah, we had to give him a speaking role now. So I haven't seen the Purge movies.
I haven't either.
Yeah, so I don't
Interesting.
know, but Dante in Purge Election Year. He also is Rick in Chicago Fire, so he is a long running
Oh.
spot on that TV series.
Interesting.
So, and then we have Francois Civil as Papillon, which I love that. Just he's butterfly,
Yeah,
great.
I
Uh,
know. And his
doesn't
tag is
give that
just
energy,
Pap.
but sure. Yeah, Pap, and I'm like, okay. They're like, how did you get down here? I'm like, it's just Pap. That
Yeah.
could literally
Well,
mean
also it wasn't
anything.
even tagged the same way. Like I was like,
No,
those are two different
listen.
Pap tags.
There's more than one hole in this film, and there's also plot holes. So, and there are
Fantastic.
plots. But he kind of a couple of these actors have a lot of like French films that I'm not familiar with. So
Mm-hmm.
he's in one film called Love at Second Sight, but he also was in that 2014 indie film called Frank. I don't know if everyone remembers it with the big
Oh,
like puppet
yeah.
paper mache
I haven't seen it, but
head.
I remember the poster vividly. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I know. Why did that poster live rent free in my head for
truly.
no reason?
Yeah, that's so wild.
So he was in that.
Amazing.
And then the same year this film came out, he was in the miniseries Rosemary's Baby. And his
Oh.
character actually visits the Paris catacombs in the second episode in that. So,
Oh, weird. This is
yeah.
another weird little parallel. There's a lot of people on mine who worked on the Rosemary's Baby prequel, Apartment 7A.
Oh,
Yeah.
ooh,
So
I gotta
I'm
dip my toe
curious
into the
about that one.
Rosemary's Baby lore,
Yeah.
or like
The
around
baby verse.
the baby verse. Thank you. I was like, what am I saying? Not lore. Ew, the baby verse.
Ugh.
Gross.
Yeah, I strongly regret saying
As
that.
long as the baby is a devil, I'm good.
Exactly. That's as long as it's not a human baby, I'm down.
Yeah. So we have Marianne Lambert as Susie. It is spelled like Susie Sue and the
Mhm.
Banshees, and it is a nod to her
Mhm.
name, that band. And she mostly did stage work after this. This was her
Mm.
first and only feature film at the time. So it was her debut and her end. But in
Whoa.
2025, she did do a film called Love Letters. So
Oh, good.
I don't know if she's coming back or she's dipping a toe back, but
Good, because
she
she
is a
was
stage
great.
actress.
She was fantastic,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, she didn't have, like,
Um,
all that much to do necessarily, but everything she was given, she nailed.
yeah. They were for an ensemble cast for what this was. I think
Mhm.
everyone was like very much a specific character, um, and so like rounded in that you could tell that
Yeah.
they just like kind of showed up with. They weren't flat, I guess, and
Mhm.
it's very easy to be flat in an ensemble film where you're kind of just running around
Yeah.
screaming in tunnels.
Especially when, like especially when all of the characters only really get their backstories revealed in, like, the last 15 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, right before they go.
Yeah. It's
Right
like,
before they
"Here's
go.
the person I am, and now I'm dead."
And then see you later.
Yeah.
And that's enough of you. Good
Mhm.
job. You're out of
Mhm.
here. So yeah, she was awesome. Cool to see. I'm curious to see if she'll continue film. But kind of I love actors that have a big off screen on stage presence.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like you can tell the actors that do that. And I do think
Mhm.
those are the better actors we have in Hollywood.
It's true. Theater actors are
Hot take.
amazing.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
They're incredible.
It's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Also, get away from Hollywood.
Yeah, true. Big,
Reset
big, big
just a little
time
bit.
that. Mhm.
The last person we have is Ali. Oh no, I didn't look up how to say their name. Marhire.
Okay.
I am so sorry if I butchered that. He plays Zed.
Mhm.
He is again mostly in French films, but you may recognize him. He had like a small role in Zero Dark 30 and then is in a TV
Oh.
series called Castings, and like the S is in
Oh.
little parentheses.
Ah,
So
interesting.
again, unfamiliar.
Mhm.
Obviously, they cast a lot of French actors
Yeah. It's
for this film.
I mean, it's gonna be a similar thing with mine where it's, also a lot of European actors who are mainly in projects that you might not know the name of if you're from the United States.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I realize I love that about these two films
Mhm.
too. I
Mhm.
specifically love that in The Descent is
Yeah.
how
We're
worldly the
we're
cast
we are
is.
going to talk a lot about that because there's a very practical reason for it that's really smart. But put a pin in
Ooh,
that.
yay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're moving on from the actors. We are jumping right into where did the idea for As Above, So
Yeah.
Below come from? And it's very interesting. So John and Drew said they've always wanted to make a documentary style found footage film like that's very Indiana Jones with a female lead
Mm.
specifically. So that's been something they wanted to do, which I kind of love that they want to see something like that come to life that's not
Mhm.
necessarily from their point of view.
Mhm.
And so I said in like a very Hollywood fashion, I kind of don't know how this happened. I couldn't really find interviews. It's just like the head of Legendary Pictures just called us up. So
Interesting.
how does that work? I don't know. They've done films before, so I'm sure they had a contact. And so the brothers were like, so the head of Legendary Pictures, Thomas Toll is his name.
Mhm.
He said he would love to do something in the Paris catacombs. And so the brothers
Oh.
were like, that would be
Yes,
perfect. What if
please.
yeah, yes, please. What if the characters were searching for something down there? So,
Mhm.
and they were like,
Mhm.
great, that sounds good. So they kind of I have a quote from the brothers talking about how they kind of collaborate on ideas. So it's from
Mm.
director John. He says, quote, we have this list of 200 movie ideas that go up and down the list depending on where we were in life. So we
Whoa.
were all over the place until something starts to snowball. 3 or 4 ideas come together. We wanted to do a female Indiana Jones, a fearless archaeologist searching for an occult in a found footage style.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, we had studied the Catacombs, but we dropped that. We had a female lead, Scarlett, like we talked about, they kind of like developed her, but we didn't have anywhere to go. So they got that call. We're like, hell yeah, let's bring some of these ideas forward. So they just started to develop this project back in 2008. So it's been
Whoa.
sitting for that a little bit and ruminating. Like I said, they were really trying to build out like Scarlet. And it wasn't until they kind of landed on the idea of Nicholas Flamel's Philosopher's Stone that they kind of really found that key point for their character Scarlet to be like, this is the thing that is driving her into the catacombs. This is the thing she has to find. And so it wasn't until 2010 until it was like a solidified script, and then they shot it in 2013.
Interesting. I'm thinking about, because it's Legendary Pictures and because of the time it came out, I kept thinking about Crimson Peak, because that's also Legendary Pictures and came out 1 year afterwards, but also similarly had been in development since like the aughts. So interesting. I like that during this period, Legendary Pictures was really
I know,
putting money into horror films. And I don't know I have no idea what the budget of this was, but we'll get there, I'm sure.
We absolutely could find it on this one. There's like a rough estimate, but we'll talk about that too.
I imagine similarly to mine, not in US dollars.
Everything I found actually was in US dollars. Whether that's a good conversion,
fair, very good point.
I don't know. So I will give you a range, and we can do with that information what we will. Cool. So I definitely got like conflicting numbers, so we'll see. Choose your own, you know?
Fantastic.
So I wanted to touch on the Philosopher's Stone for a minute. So you talked about it earlier. I'm going to be honest. I don't think I'm alone here. I thought it was fake, or like it is fake, right?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was like a real myth that existed in our life. I thought it just came from the Harry Potter films. I'm an idiot.
Harry Potter, I think, is what most of us know it from, for sure.
So that person that we don't like to speak of, she
who must not be named.
It. Yeah, truly, that's who we shouldn't talk about. So, it was popularized because of her.
Yeah,
but it's the point in this film that always like gags me. I'm like, oh my god, my brain just like can't see that as like a real thing people believe in. So for those that don't know about it, which honestly I didn't, so I'm going to share very overly simplified bullet points. I'm sure Siena's wrote a book on it, but I'm going to do bullet points.
Absolutely have not. This is going to be completely new information for me.
So it's very watered down information, but I want to dive into it more. But it's a legendary alchemical substance believed to turn base metals into gold and create the elixir of life for immortality. So that's kind of what we see happen in this. She shaves it off, the wounds heal from that, so we kind of see that happen. I can't remember because there's so much that goes on. There's like an exposition part of, I'm sure there is. She talks a lot and it's hard to take it all in. So its roots began in ancient Greek philosophy and Egyptian metallurgy, with early mentions around 300 CE, which I don't even know when that fucking falls, because I've never seen CE on anything.
Oh, that's crazy to me. That's like the opposite of BC. Now? Yeah, that's like the current.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Moving on. I was like, what the fuck is CE? Century? So the intensive search for it actually led to foundational discoveries in chemistry and attracted many great minds. So we have Isaac Newton was one of them, Roger Bacon, and then obviously Nicholas Flamel, which is who we talk about this. He's kind of like linked to the creation of the stone in some way, and he's also a Harry Potter character. So that's kind of your bullet points of, it was believed to be true until it was obviously, people were like, this thing is a myth, it doesn't exist. So, but I just didn't realize, because I was like, Nicholas Flamel, that's Harry Potter.
Can't be real.
What's happening?
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to look into this. So I hope there's someone listening that is like me. But moving on from that, so you kind of asked if The Descent was a film that inspired the brothers for this film, and I don't have that listed from them, and I've not found it in any interviews they've done. But some of the films I did find were The Goonies, which I think is so funny.
Oh, that's it's so sweet, fascinating.
If you're thinking Indiana Jones, right?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, The Goonies.
They go on an adventure. It's true.
Yeah. We have Da Vinci Code, which I think makes sense. Flatliners from 1990, and Event
Oh,
Horizon. So I do feel like
interesting.
the
Huh.
pieces from those, and then the horror elements, their personal found footage elements that they very much like. I kind of like to see this mash and smattering of kind of wildly different films.
Yeah,
And
it's
then you can pick out where you see those in the
that's a
film you're watching.
really interesting group of reference
Right.
points. Yeah.
I have another one that I'm not sure if you'll be familiar with, but
Ooh.
they also talked about their research. They talked to a lot of cataphiles, so catacomb enthusiasts. I
Oh.
wrote not cat enthusiasts, different cataphile. And kind of asked
Theodore's
them about
sad.
their. I know. I'm like, I'm sorry, Theo. But they asked them kind of the weirdest things that they saw in caves, and specifically the Paris
Mm.
catacombs, which I don't want to know.
Yeah,
I feel like there's probably some really creepy stories that
I
would keep me up at night.
I very much believed the group of singers down there. I was like, I'm sure that's happening.
Yes, so that's one of them. So there are and this is like a less creepy fact. So
Mhm.
they said that there are people from like choirs and world-class musicians that would go down in the catacombs for acoustic reasons,
That makes
obviously.
sense.
So that's kind of where we see, and I'm like, I can only imagine what it
That's
sounds like to a musician or someone who can sing like that to
I
go
mean,
down there.
that's part of Haley Dahl, who composed my soundtrack. Part of the reason that I discovered her music was because she recorded her first like major LP in a
Yeah.
cave for
Shut
the
up.
acoustics. And like she'd
That's
gone
so
on this like
cool.
full search through like hundreds of different caves to find just the right cave acoustics that she was looking for. And it sounds
God.
totally unique because of that.
Oh,
Um, and
absolutely.
so like seeing them down there, I was like, Haley would love this.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can just yeah. I love that. So that you were nail on the head. And then also they were inspired from a scene in Andrei Tarkovsky's 1966 film Andrei Rublev.
Yes.
I'm butchering that name, so you
I
can say
l-
it fancier for
you
me.
that's fine. You got
Yeah.
it.
Listen, we all know.
I
I don't like to try saying something for the first time out loud on this
so
podcast.
fair. I love Tarkovsky. I'm sure that's no surprise. It's like the film bro
Yeah.
in me.
I think you've talked about
I'm
him on the
sure I
podcast. That's
have.
why I was like,
Yeah.
you're gonna know this next one.
Yeah. That's so cool. So Andrei Rublev.
Yeah.
What was the scene in it specifically?
The witch coven in the woods. So like with the choir, that's why we
Oh,
got this mashup of like the choir singing and this like kind of like occult. So
that
they
makes
kind of
sense.
drove
Hmm.
put those two together for that scene. So I
Got
kind of
it.
love
Love.
the weird again, they took like three
Hmm.
inspirations and kind of put them together. Um this is where we kind of get into the Dante's Inferno references. So obviously this film basically is a journey through uh Dante's Inferno. So I kind of bullet pointed a few things out that you can look out for.
Hmm.
I did not do a whole breakdown of every single circle of hell that they enter, but they enter a lot of them.
Yeah.
Um so we have obviously the idea, which this is like I had to change up the language because it said it said belly button. Ugh. I have a huge fear of belly buttons. So that's where they climb into. That's the hole represented, which makes me want to throw myself off a cliff.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, so that's where they have to like enter into to escape. We get that whole like last scene where that is what they do. They kind of nod to that anyways.
Hmm.
And then obviously we kind of see when they push, which it's my favorite when they push the manhole down to climb up reversed.
That's really fun.
It's so cool
Hmm.
visually to see. I don't know why I love that scene so much. So that's where we kind of see them make it out and come on the other side. It's kind of the idea of this like mirrored inner turmoil. So kind of what
Hmm.
you kind of brought up earlier of how could there be a sequel? Could they live out
Hmm.
the idea of this film really is that they are able to open up about their sins, and so they do make it on the other
Hmm.
side. They are worthy of making it out of hell. So
Mm.
that's where they kind of left it as
Interesting. So that
director writer.
they saw the
But I do
ending as much more positive than I did.
I was gonna say like but I also think that could be like open to interpretation, right?
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
haven't said anything that combats that idea. So I
Mm.
do think there could be a possibility that
interesting.
You think you made it through. The idea of that they could live a few months and everything's normal, and then it's just like where you actually didn't confront it fully.
You know
like what didn't
You know what I was expecting to see in that last scene was, remember when they first go to find Papillon and they go into that club and there's that white-faced woman staring at them?
Yeah.
I was expecting to see her walk across the background
Oh,
at the
like she
very
didn't, because
end.
she walks through, I think, like two other she's in the
Yeah.
choir. She
Yeah.
walks in the background again. So
Yeah, I
imagine she's
wanted
just
like
like on
just
the
one.
boat, like a
Yeah,
boat in the river.
exactly. Exactly. Like just a little like it's not quite over yet.
Yeah. Yeah. They were optimistic. Again, I can't remember if quarantine. I mean, no spoiler, no spoilers. Does quarantine end?
Oh
I
god,
don't think
I
I
don't
can't
remember
remember.
how
I
it
don't think it
ends.
does.
I don't think it does. I think everybody dies.
Yeah, maybe they were like, let's
Let's do a
keep
happy
it.
one. Yeah.
Did Trav write? No, it didn't. It didn't end happy. Okay, perfect. And I can't
Fantastic.
remember I haven't seen the Poughkeepsie tapes, so I don't
I
know. So
don't
maybe they
think
were
that
like,
one ends happy.
they were like, let's give it to people.
That's fair. I could see if you've done 2 found footage horror that both end in that kind of a way,
Yeah.
you want to like do
Yeah.
something a little different, but
A little justice. So so they kind of acted as it was like a redemption of their sins. They made it through. They owned up to these things, and then like the manhole was, the idea of having it kind of down. They had to take this like leap of faith, jump that they're gonna get on the other side, that things are gonna get better. So I do love that even though they had a point, it depending on how you're watching it or how you want to look at it, it could be either and it works either way. I don't know.
It
I
leaves
love
a
that.
lot open to interpretation, which we
Absolutely.
love in a horror movie.
We'd love in horror movies. Please, everybody, do it more.
Mhm.
Know your stance, but if it's a
Yes.
little vague, or vague, I should say in air quotes, or
Mhm.
open-ended,
Which, put a
that's
pin in
okay
that
too.
for Mine, because there's a big fan theory about Mine that the director's actually given some credence to, so we'll get around to that.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Mhm.
Again, I
Mhm.
love The Descent and I don't know that much about it.
I'm really
So
hoping this is a fan theory that you are not familiar with because it was really fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I always talk about, not to get off topic, we're gonna dive back into Dante.
Yep.
But I always feel like I have no one to talk to about The Descent. Because I feel like
Mm.
I feel like it's so culty still to
Interesting.
this point that I'm like excited to talk to somebody about
Yeah.
it.
No,
Finally.
and I like
It's been years.
it was a really juicy one to research. I'll say that. That's like there's a lot of good stuff in
Ooh.
there. So yeah.
Ooh. I'm
Yeah.
excited. So
So
that's kind of
Dante.
like the end. So Dante, sorry, I'm
No,
jumping
I'm
back
so
into hell.
sorry.
I'm just so excited to talk about Descent. I'm like, As Above is great, and I love it, and I love reading about As Above, but I also like am such a fanboy over Descent that it's like hard for me to not be like, what? Tell me more.
Yeah.
So Dante, like I said, there's other references too. So I'm gonna read off a couple that I noted, and the internet noted. So when the group climbs down to the second floor and that sound's all muffled before that like big booming sound vortex they get stuck into, that's supposed to represent lust, the second circle of hell. The vortex kind of spins souls around for eternity, and then it's kind of yeah, you have that Tiffany. So that's supposed to be second circle of hell.
Interesting.
When Papillon sets off the booby trap in the room with the philosopher's stone, that's supposed to be the fourth. And they descend into greed. So that's the fourth circle of hell.
Yep.
We have the climb down the rope. Poor Benji. He's on the 8th floor, which is the 8th circle of hell, fraud. Again, some of these people don't get backstories till the end. But then he's pushed down the hole by a woman holding a baby, lands on the 9th floor in the 9th circle of hell, which is treachery. And like I was saying, we don't get backstory, but people are kind of like assuming he had some sort of partner and that he either betrayed or deceived his partner, who had a child. So there's a lot of assumptions made with some of the characters' backstory, but oftentimes every kind of instance we run into, every room that we get into, I think Trav made the joke that like this was like the ultimate escape room.
Yeah, I mean that's like basically Dante in a nutshell is the ultimate escape room. I definitely I'm assuming that Scarlett's father was level 6 because that's the level that people who commit violence against themselves or others are in, so it's where suicides go in
Suicide.
Dante. Yeah.
Yep.
And like I know there's like a couple points where she sees like a noose hanging before we see her father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's hers. And I, as someone who's like, I wish I would have read all the circles prior to watching so I could have watched, but that's not the order that I went in.
Have you seen like the diagrams? Like I think there's an illustration that, I don't know if it's Gustave Doré, but have you seen like the illustrations of the circles of Dante's Hell?
No. Again, I'm really unfamiliar with it, and it's like, I know it's surprising because of what we talk about all the time. But
I'll send one to you during the break because it's like it really.
Oh my god, yes, please.
Yeah, like the visualization of it is really really fun.
Yeah,
it's like kind of like a reverse cone almost, and like
sick.
it's really fun.
And then through the belly button. That's my 2026 resolution. be more familiar with Dante's Inferno. There we go. That's super easy to keep.
This is true.
I'm gonna do it on the break.
Resolution finished on day 3 of the new year.
Truly. I have a quote from the brothers talking about Dante's Inferno before we kind of like move on. Again, I think most of my quotes are from director John. So he said, "We took a page from Dante's Inferno, punishment according to crime. What would your personal hell be? Something you feel terrible about. I can relate to the guy who made a mistake and his brother got hurt as a result. We want to focus on that, even if you just get clues. We didn't want to spell out everyone and do this exposition. We really wanted to explore what would it be like if you could explore inside the mind of each person. Going through psychotherapy, going deeper, and going to the deepest level. You have to go deep to find peace." And so that was, I kind of love that they were like, yes, we use this as a template, but we're not going to that's not what this story is. Really.
We're not going to hit you over the head with it.
Yeah, we're not going to have her blab about Dante's Inferno the whole time. So, moving on to collaboration. So we've kind of mentioned it. This is Legendary Pictures, but it's also Universal Studios. So this was the first time those two had ever collaborated, and this was their first film in a multi-year distribution and co-financing deal that they did from 2014 to 2019.
Whoa, which I think probably included Crimson Peak then, because I believe that was also a co-production between the two.
It had to have at that point.
So we owe Crimson Peak to this in a sense.
I know.
That's so cool.
Yeah. That's true, actually.
Aww.
That bled, so Crimson Peak could also bleed.
Jesus. Thank you, as above.
Thank you. Some other films that they did together, which are not horror related, really. They did Warcraft, Detective Pikachu, Godzilla, like Monsterverse, and then they did Jurassic World movies, although obviously Universal owns the IP to Jurassic Worlds. But yeah, I thought that was really interesting. That was their first, and then they only did it for a couple of years before they broke up.
Wow.
So here's where we get to budget. Do you want to take a stab?
Oh my god.
I can only give so much away of why the budget is what it is until we get there.
I'm struggling with this one because, there's a lot of reason to think that ours would be around the same, but I also don't. Can I ask a question?
I know this is where I don't know if I'm going to answer it yet, but yes, okay. Ask it.
Was it shot on a soundstage?
Parts, yes.
Okay.
This is, we're going to jump right into that. That's what I was going to say. I can't.
Can I say like 5 mil?
Ding, 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 ding.
Yay! Look at that.
Ding, ding, right on the head. So is this 5 million? Some say up to 10. I'm wondering if that's marketing.
That would make sense. Yeah, because this doesn't look like it should have cost 5. 10. Yeah.
No. Yeah. I actually would not know where that budget went.
Yeah, that would be
at
insane.
10 mil.
Yeah.
I actually wouldn't know. So I'm calling it 5.
That makes
Anyone
sense.
Can argue
that feels
me.
Reasonable.
Go for it. So to answer your question though, so at the time, As Above, So Below was the second film, I think like more mainstream at least, film set in the Paris Catacombs. There was a film called Catacombs from 2007. I keep wanting to say 2027. 2007.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah. Or have we? I don't know. That film was shot in Romania. But to your question, As Above, So Below was shot in actual Paris catacombs.
Damn, that's cool.
It was pretty much all shot in the Paris catacombs, which we'll get to.
There was something about the griminess of the walls that felt really real to me. Like especially the early levels where there's tags on the walls. Can I do like a quick diversion here to like a personal story?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I was in high school, before I went to NMSA, the arts high school here, I was going to Capitol High School in Santa Fe, and those who went to Capitol High School in Santa Fe and or know the lore of Capitol High School know that there are tunnels underneath the school. And
Spooky.
I've been in them. They are horrible. They look a lot like this. The urban legend is that they stretch all the way from Capitol, which is on the far south side of Santa Fe, to downtown, and that you could travel all the way to the plaza through them. I'm sure that's not true, but it was like they also like led out of the theater department, which was very weird. It was like you would go into the wings in the theater department of Capitol High School, and like where the ropes are at the side, if you climbed down and then turned around, you could crawl into this tunnel. And then it like opened up into this like rabbit warren of tunnels, and I still to this day don't know what they're for, Al. But
underground tunnels really
it's
like at least Paris Catacombs is like
there's a reason.
Like we have this overflux of bodies and we had to put the stinky, which I always ask the question, which I have not been and I want to so bad.
Same.
I don't think I knew about them when I went to Paris when I was like younger.
Same.
And then I haven't been. I've been to like south of France. But yeah, one day a dream to go down there. But I'm like the way that they're like arranged. I'm like, were they arranged down there when they were fleshy or when they were skulls?
I know. How decomposed were they when they were building this?
Yeah, like when they did like the crosses, I'm like, were those fleshy bones? Yeah, and then they like let them.
Especially given that the reason was for the smell, I feel like we have to assume that at least some of them were fleshy at the time.
Some of them had bits.
Some of them had bits, right?
Yeah, they had bits and bobs on them. So. I love it though. Yeah, I mean, but not knowing like why there is underground like systems, like not knowing the reason in history is like that's so the creepy part of like what was the use then.
Yeah, again, like why would there be a tunnel underneath a high school going to downtown? Like there's no good reason for that. Why, Santa Fe?
What's the high school hiding?
Truly, Capitol High School, tell us. But like the tags down there and like the grime on the walls looked so similar to this that I was like, that feels so real.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's hard to. I mean, it would be props to the PD whole creative team. Yeah.
If that was like truly just faked, but like it did not look faked.
Yeah. I think that's what adds to this. So, I guess director John had visited the catacombs in 2007. So this was before he even got the idea for the script in 2008. But I guess they were closed due to vandalism. Speaking of, so yeah, it wasn't until kind of scouting that they were able to go back and really see them. And so I have a quote from John saying that, quote, "We had never been in the catacombs before. The first location scout, Drew, and I pulled into this old Parisian residential neighborhood. We were put in rubber waders and went up to our chests. We went in the hole just like that. It was a 5-hour tour with real skulls and femurs. There were real bones down there. 2 hours into it, we go down a staircase to a deeper level, and then they keep like exploring this place, right?"
Honestly, like I would have no problem with the bones. It's the depths that I would struggle with. That's it.
It's if this rock falls, I can't get out. That's it's also the tight.
Yeah, the claustrophobia is real. The claustrophobia is real.
I was gonna say, I'm like, I don't even know if I'm claustrophobic. I went to he's a horrible person, but I went to Zach Bagans' like haunted house in Vegas, which is incredible. I hate to say it, you should go. But there was this option, like me and like the group I was with, none of us knew each other. We all decided to do the VIP tour because you got more rooms. And there was one point where you had to crawl through a tunnel from one room to another.
Oh God.
And I did it. When I tell you, it was pitch black, right? I had to close my eyes.
Yeah. Oh,
because I was like,
absolutely.
I can't see that I can't see the darkness.
I need to
and I could hear people on the other side.
Oh God.
But I was like, it was in that moment where I'm like, I do think I have claustrophobia.
Oh, I know.
More
I do.
than I thought.
I absolutely do.
Yeah.
100%.
It's a fair fear, in my opinion. I
Yeah.
think it's extremely valid. No one should have to be in a claustrophobic state ever.
Yeah. There's a reason that
Danger.
we like open spaces.
Absolutely. So, the brothers kind of felt that in this. So again, like I said, there was pretty much 95% shot in the catacombs
Wow.
and became the first ever production that secured permission from the French government to shoot in the
Wow.
Paris catacombs, which I
That's
think is
impressive.
so cool.
That's
Even
really
the
cool.
public and off-limit areas too. So they got to really like
Whoa. That's
do it up.
amazing.
Right?
Ugh.
I can only imagine, like, he went as a fan to go see it, then he gets a
Mhm.
tour, and then he's like, "Oh my god, we get to shoot, like, an
That's
off limits."
incredible. That's
Amazing.
really cool.
So because of this, they obviously had to go through a ton of hoops with the government to get the permissions that they needed to, and they didn't it sounds like I couldn't find too much information, but it sounds like they couldn't get all their permits, like, okayed till basically
Mm.
right up to shooting, so it was a little bit stressful
Oh
waiting for
my
permits.
god, that's so frightening.
Yeah, so they knew they were able to, but they couldn't physically go in until they had all the
God.
proper paperwork.
Mhm.
Which again makes sense. He said they said during this process they had to jump through a lot of hoops, but it was more of a matter of cutting through bureaucracy and resistance more than
Yeah, that makes
anything.
sense.
Um, of course, because they were shooting in the catacombs, they wanted to make sure cast and crew were safe. So they took a lot of precautions with this. They tested the air and water quality, basically making sure they weren't going in battery acid when they would go in these
Well,
watery
smart.
bits.
Very smart.
Yeah, especially the off limits ones that obviously the
Yeah.
ones that are for tours are going to be fine, but
Right.
what do the off limits areas look like? So
Mhm.
they did test everything. They were super safe. And then, of course, they wanted to make sure cast and crew would not be claustrophobic.
Mm.
So they had brought them down there and they even did a wardrobe fitting down in the catacombs,
What?
just to make sure
That's
that
so
no one was
fun.
uncomfortable.
That's so fun.
This is I know, right? Imagine, like, being down there with just, like, headlamps and being
Ugh.
like, "Try on this shirt,
Oh
try on
my
this shirt."
god. I can't even
How
see
you
what I look
feeling?
like. What do you mean?
Yeah. Turn the light back on me, I feel something. So, they had their wardrobe fitting down there, and though they don't reveal the actor's name, I'm assuming it's the actor, that we talked about earlier that plays Benji,
Mm, mhm.
because they said the actor that had the most claustrophobic scene, which in
Mhm.
my eyes is when he gets trapped,
Yeah, yeah, with
had a
the bone
really hard
pile.
time. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
pretty visceral.
yeah. So they said, one of the actors, I do think it was his character, fully
Mm.
warranted, had a little bit of a hard time shooting down there. So again, I
Oh,
think he wasn't acting so much as actually
poor
being a little freaked
Benji.
out.
Yeah, it felt very real. The hyperventilation felt very genuine on his
Yeah.
part.
Yeah. And as we get into it too, I think you'll bless these actors for getting through it. So, again, real Paris catacombs, narrow winding tunnels, skeletons, it's dark, it's damp. There were very little props because of this. Most of the skeletons were obviously real. I'm assuming the ones where he's digging are probably props as to
Mhm.
not disturb
Real remains.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and preserve the catacombs.
Mhm.
There were obviously no bathrooms, no
Didn't think about
electricity,
that.
no cell service.
Ah.
And then they were obviously sometimes up to their waist and had to like crawl around for
Oh
hours at
my
a time.
god. Ugh.
So I have a couple quotes again. Director John said, quote, getting cast and crew down there was really difficult. Getting back down there after lunch was really
Oh my god, I
difficult.
can only
It was,
imagine.
I know, imagine going like and like seeing the surface of the sun. It's like, well,
Yeah.
get back
Going
down
back,
here.
yeah.
Yeah. So he said it was cold and damp down there. One location was 6 flights of stairs down,
Ugh.
one through a little hole in the ground. Walkie
Ugh.
talkies didn't work. Wireless monitors didn't work. There were no restrooms, electricity. You couldn't run any
Oh
generators.
god.
It was a battery operated film.
Wow, you couldn't run generator? I mean, I guess the space is too small.
And I'm assuming, like, especially like in Europe, like finding the source I guess it's a generator, but like running everything down there was probably just too difficult for them to do.
God.
So
Well,
they
and
were like, fuck it.
I'm also thinking, I don't know if this is true or not, but I imagine if you're in tunnels that are off limits, you probably don't want to run something that's going to vibrate as much as a generator because God, what if that sends the roof crashing down on you?
Oh, I didn't think of that. Oh, God, they didn't even mention that. I wonder that I'm hoping that was someone's thought process. Thank fuck whoever said let's not
Yeah,
do that.
truly, because like, I
Oh!
do feel like that would be, like, a real concern, because like, generators
Oh!
and like, a generator that you're
No,
using
you're
on a
so
film
right.
set is, like,
They're
that's
so
big, and,
big.
like, it's gonna be sitting on the ground, so the
Yep.
vibrations are gonna travel through the ground to the walls, like,
Oh
oh
my God.
god.
Ugh. That makes me sick to my
Ah!
stomach.
Yeah,
So
okay,
anyways,
very upsetting.
glad they were just battery
Man.
operated,
Which
so they went the right
also
way.
this also makes me think about one of the super interesting differences between our films is I'm sure yours is shot digitally. Like they could not
Mhm.
have done this
Oh, yeah.
on film just because the low light conditions you wouldn't be able to see
Oh,
anything.
absolutely.
Whereas mine is all shot on film, and so a lot of it was faking the low light conditions very carefully.
Oh, I love the lighting
We're
in
gonna talk
Descent. Oh my God, I can't
so
wait.
much about that's like yeah, I've got
Um,
so much lighting stuff. um
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
mhm.
I have a couple I don't know when I get to it. Oh, in a little bit. I have,
Fantastic.
like, the cameras they used.
Ooh, cool. Yeah, I'm very curious about that
Yeah.
because yeah, I imagine it would
S
have to be really low light sensitive because again, that's usually what you're using a Jenny for on a set is for powering lights. So,
yeah, no, they had to throw that
oh
out the
my
door.
god. Well, and even just I'm sorry to be just like harping on this, just like my production mind is going crazy right now because like even the mention of like the monitors wouldn't work. Like
Mhm.
you couldn't
Oh,
have
put a pin in that.
you couldn't have a video village, right? Like you wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to watch playback.
Yep.
Oh
So
my
put
god.
a pin in that. I think I'm trying to
Ah!
think of when we get to that. I think relatively soon.
Oh my
I don't wanna,
god.
like,
Don't want to
speak because then I
spoil
do
it.
this thing where
Yeah,
I forget where so yeah, put a
for
pin
sure.
in that because
Ugh.
it's all the things you're thinking when I read that is I
What?
was luckily I found some interviews of them
Oh
talking
my
about
god,
that.
I'm
Thank fuck.
so excited to hear.
Yeah, it's again, there I just love, like, yes anding, like, people
Mhm.
on sets that can yes and something, and
Yes.
they
Yeah.
absolutely could do that on this. So,
Wow.
I have a quote from actor Ben Feldman, who we both
Mhm.
love.
Mhm.
He said to talking about kind of, like, the entrances to get into these catacombs are kind of all I think there's, like, a few main entrances. I think one was specifically in a hospital parking lot
Ugh.
was one entrance for the place to go in. So he
Ugh.
talks about this, same quote. We would go into the trailers and get covered in blood, dust, scars, and gore, then
Mhm.
grab our coffees, have a leisurely stroll to the hospital parking lot, past doctors and patients all staring at us. We were covered in blood and walking past these people who could theoretically save us.
Oh my
So he just thought
god.
the juxtaposition of like being
That's
stuck and then
so
having to go down there
wild.
was really funny.
Ugh.
Um,
Although I guess
I
also
was
like as an actor, I feel like it would make me feel more safe doing this to know that like, well, the hospital's
if
just
something
literally right
happens.
above me.
Yeah, that's true actually. That was from an interview where, I think someone followed him on, like, set for a day, so he
Oh,
was kind of
cool.
walking them through that. So the movie was shot in summer of 2013 for
Mhm.
about 2 months. 5 weeks of those underground, 1 week above, and then some time on a soundstage for all the
Wow.
underwater scenes.
Wow. Okay, so
Yeah, so
similar shoot length for both of our films too, because I think mine was 7 weeks, I want to say.
oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I'd say 2 months, it might be
Hmm.
a little under that, but yeah, 5 weeks underground, which is crazy to me.
Ugh.
Uh, Director John kind of joked that the cast and crew basically became mole people, and some days
We
were
are La
10
Taupe.
hours. Yeah. We are Papillon. So up to 10 hours in the
God.
catacombs. Again, it
Ugh.
sounds like they broke for lunch sometimes, and
Mhm.
so they would come out and see the sunlight, but they talked
Mhm.
about how, it would feel, like, a little loopy,
God, I can only
um,
imagine. I guess that's
and that
like
they
sorry, I guess that's one of the only good things about shooting in the catacombs is like it doesn't matter whether it's day or night, so you can keep a really consistent shoot schedule.
yeah. Yeah, 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 like, when you guys wanna start?
Yeah.
When are we good? We don't need to set up much
Yeah,
except for the
truly.
scenes, like, we'll
Man.
talk about some of the scenes and how they did those, but, yeah, they could kinda just walk down there, so
Wow.
to kind of your point about how, like, walkie-talkies wouldn't work, how wireless anything wireless, monitors, nothing, um, Director John said every scene, it would be the actor. It would be led by the actor, the
Mm.
sound guy, and kind of, he would run through these scenes with them, and then they would kind of turn off their headlamps,
Oh my god.
be in another part of the cave, tell the actors, "Okay, you have your headlamp, you know your scene, like, you know your lines, go around the corner and go do that." So they really kind of just left it up to, like, sound and the actors to
Ugh.
just, like, get through to do everything. So because of that, it was the actors that were shooting the film 90% of the time. I don't think it was originally intended that way. I think they wanted to have it be a little bit more documentary style, but they got to this point where they wanted to do something different. So, like I said, actors did it like they shot 90% of it. They would go in the room, do it. A camera was on a red, which makes sense. And then the B, C, and D cameras were Panasonic action cams that were attached to the actors. They basically were outfitted with a small helmet, and then they put it around like a neck brace. So I think we've all seen like footage. I don't know if there is footage of them specifically on this, but they would be in a little neck brace so that basically where they were looking, the camera was looking. And that's kind of why we kind of get that like derpy, they're talking to the eyes and the cameras up here, which I love and hate because it does feel very real to like what that scenario would mean. Or would be. But so that's kind of what they ended up doing because of the spatial limitations they had, because of the tech limitations that they had. So they kind of pivoted and were like, let's make this really intentional. We kind of want to be a little less documentary style. I'm assuming it's because they were like, we've done that before, so let's do something a little different. So I have a quote from director John about that saying, quote, "We didn't want to make a point of a documentary style shooting. We wanted that to fall in the background and become the tapestry of the movie. Found footage is too often the point of those movies, and we didn't want that."
Love. That's a great way of putting it. Especially again, like clearly this is somebody who spent a lot of time thinking about how do you make found footage unique.
Yeah. And like it's gotta be so, again, like having someone do 3 that isn't like in a series, right? It's not like someone who did 3 in a series, like did Quarantine 1 and 2,
or like
Rec 1
doing
and 2,
like 5 paranormal activities, like
yeah. So doing very like different things.
That's really
and the
cool.
fact that none of us know. I mean, I don't know. Some people might know. I didn't know that he did all of these either.
That's wild. Love.
We already talked about that. Oh, and this is where we get into, like I said, not only were the actors shooting most of the things and they kind of like left them to their devices, but because they're in the catacombs, most of the props that they have, well, there's really like no props in this film other than what the actors are wearing. But they wanted everything to be practical as possible and feel real, especially with a real setting. I think to then have things feel very like CG or
it wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work. So they kind of talk about how the film's notable gags were shot in the catacombs. So we get the piano scene and the car scene most notably. Those were brought underground, and he said because they did that in this real space, it brought the energy. I know.
Gagged. I was sure that was a sound stage.
Nope. The only studio work they did was the under water bits to have a controlled environment, obviously. Yeah. So this poor piano mover.
Oh my god.
So the crew did not want a real piano. They were like, build like a little fake one. Bring it down here. It's lighter. And the brothers were like, no. We need the real thing. Everything needs to feel real. So this piano mover guy, I don't know who they got to do it, but they did. It was not crew. They said like specifically it was this guy that they hired. He had to like go 6 stories down. It was only accessible by manhole cover.
Oh my god.
A long staircase, and the brothers kind of say this poor man had like the most thankless job because then this guy not only had to bring it down, but then had to bring it back out
up
after their scene.
Oh my god.
But it was important to the brothers.
It looks amazing, but Jesus Christ, I would be so mad if I were that man.
I hope they paid him well.
Yeah, truly.
Big fat tip for that guy.
I hope he had, I'm sitting underneath my Candyman poster here, and I'm like, I hope that he had like a Tony Todd with the bees style deal where he gets like an extra $1,000 for every step he trips.
For every step.
Like,
yeah. That's where the other $5 million of the budget went.
Exactly.
Piano guy.
And he earned every penny.
Every penny. So I understand why the brothers wanted like something realistic. Apparently that is a nod to their childhood. So when they were kids, the piano looks apparently one like they grew up with. They used to like jump off the piano, which is why we get George's character kind of saying like, as kids, like we used to jump off of this, me and my brother. So that was like a very important moment that the brothers wanted to include. So I do understand it.
But God.
I know. The car the car was also practical and the fire was also practical. So they did that down there too. And just to make sure, director John even tested it first himself. So there is an actor in that car. Pyrotechnics are going off. And he was like so amazed by the effects that I think he was like, yeah, no, I'll test it for safety. I think he just thought it was really cool.
Yeah,
And
that
was
sounds
like,
right.
put me in, coach. So they also had to get that car and pyrotechnics down there as well, which is terrifying. And I wonder if the Paris government knew that.
Yeah, well, and I'm thinking, like, if I was worried about a Jenny going down there, like, a burning car seems a lot more likely to collapse a tunnel.
Listen.
Ugh.
Also knocking around a big fucking piano.
Yeah, like, God forbid you hit the wrong wall in the wrong
They
spot.
had there's so many waivers they
Oh
probably
my
had to
God, I
sign
can't even
for that.
imagine. Yeah.
Like, no, thank
Jesus
you.
Christ. Ugh.
Couldn't actually couldn't pay me enough.
Yeah, truly. Yeah, I just wouldn't do it.
Yeah, actually couldn't pay me enough. So I want to give a little nod to their editor for this. So obviously, because it's fun footage, because they're sending actors in, they don't have all like they don't have Video Village, or I'm sure they're watching things at the end of the day, but like they have a lot of footage to go through, right?
Yeah.
So they worked with editor Elliot Greenberg. He has worked on them with their previous films, so they're old buddies. They've done found footage things together.
Cool.
So they had a shorthand. They love working with him. They had a clear. He said the brothers had a very clear vision for the story. So combined with working someone you already know, it was like super easy for them to kind of deal with that scenario for this one. This editor also did Haunting in Connecticut 2, Smile, and Smile 2, which
so he's a horror
God,
editor. That's cool.
And The Conjuring, Last Rites. So that's his most
Wow.
recent.
Interesting.
Yeah. And oh, I have a little bit of marketing actually as we're rounding this out a little bit. So for marketing, they did a very like 2014 kind of thing, and this also like made me miss 2014 social media. So they did a lot of like guerrilla marketing for this.
We love
that's
a guerrilla
kind of
market.
It truly, and like at the time that this came out too, I feel like social media was firing on every fucking cylinder so hard.
It was so new.
It was, yeah, everything was like so new, exciting. Like, I don't know. I just feel like people put a lot of effort into it in a different way than we do now.
I mean, I think part of it is also just like the platforms weren't full of bots at that point. Like it was actual people.
No.
So
yeah, you could just like, and you could find stuff easier to your point too, because you didn't have to sift through like bullshit.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
edits of things. It was like a true original content. So they got like one of the biggest YouTubers of all time at that time, which was PewDiePie.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure if you watched him. Yeah.
I didn't watch him, but I know of him.
Knew of him. Yeah. We and then his girlfriend Maritza, she was like Cutie Pie, I think was her thing. She was part of the network that I worked in around this a few years prior to this. So they actually sent the two of them into the Paris catacombs for like a reaction to like creepy challenges under there.
Cool.
I miss days of that. That's so badly.
I know. I love this period of horror marketing when like it collided with the real world more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to experience one of those. I'm like blanking on the movie. I want to say it's called The Forest. I think it was around I want to say it was around this time. Yeah, it's a horror movie. One of my friends, a friend's friend had worked on the screenplay, and so we got to watch it in a forest in California.
That's cool.
It was so cool. So we were in the forest, creepy horror movie forest, and then we got to like go do a tour of the woods and see some of the props. But then while doing that, we were scared by YouTubers that were like super prank YouTubers at the time. So there's a video of me somewhere getting scared on a YouTuber's thing, but I like miss the days of that were like so interactive, and it was you know, YouTubers are so accessible, and then having like real people go. So that was something that they used to market this, which again, 2014, it made the most sense to do that. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know that many people that have pull like that anymore
Yeah,
online.
I think Neon is like doing a little bit of that, but it's like the
It's
platforms have
TikTok
changed so
lives.
much. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, it's like
interesting.
TikTok like interviews. So I see a lot of
Interesting.
influencers that way doing like red carpet.
That makes sense.
But I miss this shit. There was like a lot of production value
Yeah.
that went into it.
Yeah. There was
They also
creativity.
yeah, and they like would spread it out. They also did oh yes. Okay, the forest with Natalie Dormer.
Ah,
Just
oh,
confirmed.
love
It's
Natalie
so good.
Dormer.
It's
She's great.
so good. Um they also utilize other social media platforms. So they did Instagram, Twitter, and I said Vine, RIP. I miss Vine
I
so
miss
much.
Vine. Vine was so
Yeah.
good.
So they did like what they called like personal hell videos for their campaign.
That's
And
cool.
so I know. So they did they had like the actors from the film in unsettling situations. So like a woman with her eyes rolling back, like snapping her neck, and kind of like weird little clips either from the movie or that they would create. And then obviously it then linked to the URL that it kind of had this appearance of like, here's this found footage thing, go to this URL, like it's a live streaming thing, so you can catch this here. So there was like a little bit of mystique and word of mouth.
Love.
And so by the time the film was released in August 29th of 2014, you can imagine with a strategy like that, it did really well because it's catering to the audience that they know wants to see it.
Right.
So I'm curious if you want to guess how much it made off of its 5 mil.
Oh, I feel like this
budget.
did well. I feel like this did quite
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Better than I thought for some reason. I don't know why.
Did it pass 50?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Close though.
35?
42.
42.
Right in the middle. Right perfect in the middle.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's
So
good. Well
yeah.
done.
Yeah. It's for some reason I thought like maybe more like 30 or like 29.
Yeah. So really
'Cause I feel like that
successful.
was
Made like 10 times
yeah.
its budget back almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it did
Wow.
really well. It made 8.3 million in its opening weekend.
That's great.
21 million in North America, 21.6 overseas. So that's kind of where we round up to the 42. It's obviously after being released on Netflix, which is I want to say where I saw it.
Interesting.
It did a lot better. So obviously more word of mouth. People were watching it, streaming it. It kind of became like a cult film on top of being, because I feel like I don't know. I feel like people know it, but it does feel very like there's something that feels very culty
Yeah,
about it, even within the
I think
mainstream of
particularly
it.
because of like the Nicholas Flamel Philosopher's Stone elephants, Jesus. Like
Listen, I'm like I realize I started to stutter really bad at the end of this. I'm also like still dealing with throat like cold.
No.
It's really
Oh,
cold here and I'm not used to
no.
it. So
Oh.
I'm like gulping my tea. I have apple juice with
Oh
honey, which is like the
no.
sweetest thing I've ever drank in my
Aw.
entire life. So yeah.
Probably really good for you
Please
though.
say elephants.
We've got to address the elephant in the room, guys.
Join me. Join me. But yeah, no. So it did really well. It also got I think it's come like on and off streaming since. Like I think it was taken off, it was put back on. Obviously we watched probably it both on Amazon.
Yeah, I watched on Amazon, which also we'll talk about that with The Descent too, because I had to specifically seek out the correct version of The Descent.
Yes.
After
Which someone did shut us out on
on
YouTube,
YouTube.
and I was like, you had to watch the correct one.
I was really glad that they said that because again, the only difference is at the very end. And so if you don't know, you don't know. Yeah. But yeah, we'll get to that.
It's very important, I think, for people to know which ending to watch. What was I gonna say? So on and off streaming, and then in 2025, so March of 2025, so last year, there was a limited edition Blu-ray, and there was a bunch of extras and stuff. But I thought it was fun. It also came with a 3D lenticular hard case.
Oh my god, like Jack Frost!
Like Jack Frost,
I love that.
Yeah, so I was like, okay,
that's really cool. We love a lenticular cover,
right? And like a new release, which is fun.
Yeah, that's rare these days.
Truly, people need to again. I love Criterion, and but goddamn, those are expensive.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so
but
true.
I love the covers. Yeah, I love them. Good. This is my last little bit, and I will free you all from the depths of hell that we are in. So critics' response. I didn't do a lot of reviews and stuff, it was kind of like hit or miss depending. I was gagged at what the critics score is on Rotten Tomatoes. 29 from critics, 42 from audiences.
Whoa.
What the fuck are we doing out here?
Whoa. That like honestly shocks
I'm
me.
wondering if like people are, I don't know. I feel like only the haters are watching it.
Yeah, because like it's I'll be honest, I liked The Descent better, but I thought this was a very solid
Descent
film.
is
I mean, The Descent is like a masterpiece. Like
yeah,
you
I
can't
love
really.
As Above.
Yeah,
It's great. It's feels simple-ish
yeah.
to me. Descent's what you
doing
want
something
to
else.
feel.
Yeah. It's going a whole other level. But like,
yeah, no comparison in my
yeah, and I think this is like
two.
it succeeds by its own measure. Is what I would say.
Yeah, it's good for what it's trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think they're wrong. Everyone's wrong.
Agreed.
It has a 3.3 out of 5 on Letterboxd.
Okay. That's decent.
Which I have some reviews that I want to read because they made me laugh.
Yes, I love that you've been bringing in Letterboxd reviews.
They're cracking me up. One of them's not on here, but I'm going to speak for myself. It says my fat ass would never catch my fat ass down there. I wouldn't make it through. So I'm saved by default.
Love that.
And then another one says, she gave it like 3 stars and was like, "Girl, I hate movies like this because what the fuck are y'all doing down there? Get out of there."
Truly. Yeah, that could really apply to either of our films.
Yeah. Before we go into hell, who's gonna admit they got a crush on me? They give it 3.5 stars. What's the other one I have? Someone gave it 4 stars and said they need to get a different hobby, like that just doesn't have people. They need to get a new hobby. Like this doesn't just happen to people who crochet.
So true.
My hobbies are me minding my own business
and crocheting,
not going and crocheting. And then this one person gives it 3 stars, saying that screaming the entire movie, hoping the cute clock boy doesn't die.
True.
Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't get a lot of good reviews, so it was hard to like find something
something
that
kind
of talked about it. Yeah.
That's a
so
shame.
anyways, I think everyone should watch it.
Yeah,
it's fun.
I think especially if you liked The Descent and you're looking for more claustrophobic horror, I think it will.
If you want to decompress.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I think
from Descent.
Yeah, watch this after, which is not what I did. I watched As Above first and then The Descent, which I feel like was a very downbeat way to go about it.
But yeah, no, same. But I love The Descent so much. Like it is a happy note for me to end on because I don't know. Nothing really compares to The Descent.
Yeah, I also just was so delighted by the filmmaking that I was like, I don't care if it's a really depressing ending. I felt upbeat afterwards.
Yeah, it's one of those that like you're on this journey and it's horrible, and then I mean my guys make it on the other side, but
True.
Yeah, I love these. Anyways, so that's for see, I keep wanting to jump ahead to The Descent.
Well,
I love that movie. So anyways,
so
As Above, I love it. I think it should be a tale to stay above ground.
Yes.
Like stay on the paths of the catacombs where the guide will lead you. And don't veer off. I
am so gagged
Follow
that
the
they
rules.
actually shot in the catacombs. Okay, one last thing before we break.
Yes.
Did I hallucinate this? Or was there a random shot of a mime underground?
Oh my god, I don't know.
Did I hallucinate that? That's so upset.
Maybe you're in your own.
Like I feel like I remember
Maybe?
in like the first like 40 minutes or so, like in the first half of the movie, like right before the phone call, which I loved the phone call. I feel like there was just like a quick shot where it like panned over an area and there was just like a French mime standing there looking creepy.
Oh, there might be. I don't know. You might be right. There's so much imagery that happens in As Above that it's like you have to watch every blink and you miss it. And I was doing some notes and I've seen it a few times, so you might be right. I'll confirm on the break to make sure you're not losing your mind.
Was there or was there not a mime, you guys? I need to know.
Weigh in.
Did Siena go crazy during this film? Yeah.
We'll figure that out.
God. Well, let's take a break. Let's find that mime and let's head right back into The Descent. We'll be right back. And we're back. Oh, I am so excited. I was just saying during the break, I think I mentioned it on air too. Like, this was a particularly juicy one to research. Like,
Yeah.
very tidbit heavy, very like, and there's also, I was not expecting this, but in kind of like a sequel to our previous episode with Silent Night, Deadly Night, there was some weird stuff that happened with the release and marketing of the film.
Really? Yeah.
That I was not expecting to be the case. Unfortunately, like, kind of tragic, but like we're gonna get there.
I love that there's so much for this one. I like weirdly enough wasn't expecting to hear you say that for some reason.
I almost wasn't either, but it actually, like, oh my god, it was beefy, and I found really good. In particular, I did all the things that I usually did. I watched oh god, what was it called? There was a making of video that had like a fun punny name that I now can't remember,
Ooh,
but
I love the making of video names.
and so that one's there's one of those that's on YouTube that's great. But I also
Sick.
found an interview with the cinematographer in American Cinematographer magazine that got into such detail that, like, oh my god, it was a delight. So I'm going to be drawing a lot from those two things in particular. All right. So, The Descent, 2005, right in the middle of Al's favorite period.
I love a 2005 horror.
we love a 2005 horror. And as is appropriate for 2005 horror, we have a wide assortment of taglines, ranging in length and quality. I've got them ordered from least to most funny, as I usually try to do. So the first one is so long. Bear with me.
Oh god, why do they go so long?
When you're trapped 2 miles underground, which again, not possible. That's 10,000 feet. When you're trapped 2 miles underground, there are many ways to lose your mind. Claustrophobia, disorientation, isolation, paranoia, terror. Which, like, not only is it too long, it feels like it's building to a punchline that it never delivers. Like,
I was gonna say it should.
It just
a lot of ways
drops
to lose your
off.
mind. Dot.
Yeah.
Done.
Exactly. That's it. Okay. Then you have claustrophobia, disorientation, hallucination, fear, which, like, that's just a series of words. That isn't really a tagline at all.
Yes,
That's just, you just like went through a dictionary and picked words for scared.
Yikes.
Then you have scream your last breath, which is the most famous one, which I'm like, it's fine. It's like
It's weirded me out.
It's like acceptable, I guess, but like I feel like that would work better if it was more a film about running out of air, which, like, big fear of mine, but that's like not really the kind of horror that this is.
No.
Then you have afraid of the dark, you will be, which, like,
cheesy.
Yeah,
this movie's so heavy.
And then two more, and I like both of these. You
like these? Okay.
You have face your deepest fear, which, like, get it? Deepest?
Oh, yeah. It's double.
And then my absolute favorite, the scariest movie in Earth.
In Earth. Love it. Not on Earth, in Earth.
Like,
not wrong.
It's so stupid, but, like, it hits me
cute.
just right. I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a little punny.
It's punny. We love a punny tagline.
Yeah.
So this is written and directed by Neil Marshall. It is his sophomore feature after 2002's Dog Soldiers, which is also a horror movie. Have you seen it?
Oh, yes.
That's interesting.
That's the werewolf movie that I kept forgetting the name of. You have to look past the visuals in that one, but no, once, like, within 10 minutes, you forget, because I think it's shot on something. Trav could probably drop it in the chat.
Like,
it's
shot on early digital?
Yeah, so it's like, it's not great, but the story and the acting's so fucking good. Like, within 10 minutes, you don't even give a shit.
And that's...
no way.
So this was his follow-up to that, and we're going to talk actually quite a bit about Dog Soldiers at the beginning, because there's a lot of kind of, like, interesting parallels between the two of them.
Oh, amazing.
He goes on to make Doomsday, Centurion, The Reckoning, The Lair, the 2019 Hellboy, plus directs episodes of a lot of TV shows. He did some Game of Thrones episodes, he did some Hannibal, he did some Westworld. He has one project in development right now called Mach 1, but I noticed that after The Descent, his movies make, like, a slow, steady descent in ratings, with the most recent, Compulsion, sitting at a 3.6 on IMDb out of 10. So like
No.
which is really sad because like this is such a well-directed movie, and I don't know anything about the films that he's done since this, but it seems
Mhm.
like it kind of went up and then it went down.
Damn, bummer.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see kind of what happened there, especially because as we're going to
Yeah.
talk about, this film was well received from the very beginning and only has become more so with time.
Yeah.
But let's talk about our cast. We have Shauna McDonald as Sarah. She's also Sam on the series MI5. She's Carolyn Filth, Agnes on In Plain Sight, Flora on Outlander, and she has a
Mm.
small role as a temporary command center resistance pilot in The Last Jedi.
Oh,
Um,
fun.
mhm. I don't know if she's like visible on camera in that or not, but I wanted to shout it out. She
But she's
also
there. She's
comes.
flying.
She's there. She's flying. It's happening. Sarah's there. She also comes back for the sequel to this film, as do all of our 6 lead actors. Despite the fact that they die, they do come back to shoot other camcorder footage for the sequel.
Okay.
Um, but this film is definitely what she is best known for. Then we have Natalie Mendoza as Juno, who I adored. I'm fascinated by this character.
Yeah. Why am I?
She's the other one who lives to the very end. She's
Yes,
the one
yes,
who
yes.
appears as a ghost at the end.
Oh, yes.
Um,
I fucking love Juno.
I'm
God, I
obsessed
always
with
forget
her.
everyone's name. I
Yeah,
always
oh
forget
yeah, the
everyone's name
names
in
are
this.
very difficult.
Yeah. God, her journey is in this.
We're gonna talk so much about
Oh,
Juno.
thank fuck.
I
Okay.
adore her. I think she is significantly maligned as a character. Justice for Juno.
Honestly,
Yes,
yes.
justice for Juno.
I don't think she did. I don't think she misstepped ever. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Like,
like
there's an oopsie, but like there was an oopsie on the other side of that too.
exactly. Like the biggest mistake she makes is not telling people that she's taking them into the wrong cave. But
Yeah.
but like I also
I mean,
understand why she does that. Like I believe her when she says that she wanted to give them this special thing to like bring
yeah.
them back together. Like
Yeah.
it's a fucked up justification, but I really do
Absolutely.
think that her
And
heart was
wrong.
in the right place.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Like
don't think she was a bad person.
I do not think she's a
Made
bad person.
mistakes, but not a bad
Yes.
person. Yeah,
And like
absolutely.
also
Thank
every
you.
single character in this makes mistakes, but it all kind of gets pinned on Juno. And
Thank you.
yeah,
I'm so glad you're
unfairly
on the Justice for
maligned.
Juno
Yes.
train
Justice for
then.
Juno.
Thank
Yeah, so we're going
you.
to talk a whole lot about that. We're going to talk a lot about Juno, about Natalie, about the characterization. She's the thing that I was most interested in this movie, and this is a very interesting movie. So,
Yeah.
who is Natalie? What else has she done? You may recognize her for a small but named and has lines part in Moulin Rouge. She's a character named China Doll, which like, ugh.
I just watched that. I mean, listen.
Yeah. She's also Jackie on Hotel Babylon, Kyra or Kira, I don't know how it's pronounced, on
Mm.
Beastmaster, and Liat in South Pacific. So she has had a lot of um roles that are very much just about her being Asian. And that is something that
Mm.
she talked about specifically for this role. She was like, I was so excited getting the script that it was not written as an Asian character. Which I think
Mm.
is really significant. And especially in
Yeah, absolutely.
2005, that's a really big
Absolutely.
thing. So she was like, I was so excited to get to play a person who's just written as a person
A
and isn't
person.
like
It
literally called China Doll. Like
that's I feel like that's I know you'll get into it, but that's what I feel like I like about this movie because it does feel like they just cast based on like the journey that the person was going through and like that
yes.
was the character. The character didn't
Yes.
depend on like a look or a this or a
Mhm,
that. Oh,
mhm,
amazing.
mhm.
Okay. Very
Then we
cool.
have Alex Reed as Beth, so that's Sarah's sister.
Yes.
She's also Sally on Misfits. She's Captain Caroline on Ultimate Force, Claire in The Honeymooners, and Leah on Unorthodox. I think that's a
Hmm.
Netflix series, the one
Mm.
about like escaping an Orthodox Jewish community.
Oh shit, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So she's in that. We have Saskia Mulder as Rebecca. She's also Hilda in The Beach, a character named Fist de Groek on the show The Book Group.
Amazing.
Incredible.
Amazing.
She has a few Dutch credits. She's from the Netherlands. And not a whole lot else. In fact, The Descent Part 2 from 2009 is the most recent credit on her IMDb.
Oh
So
wow.
I don't know if she's maybe still acting on stage, if it's like a
Mm-hmm.
similar situation to Susie from your movie, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. Then we have Miana Buring as Sam. That's the Swedish one. She's the one who's like studying to be a doctor.
Yes. Thank you for the
Mm-hmm.
descriptors.
This was like how I had to like teach myself. Like the
Yeah.
names really get confusing. So she's Callie in Doomsday, back with director Neil. She's in Kill List. She's Tanya in Twilight Breaking Dawn. She's Edna on Downton Abbey, Melinda on Unforgotten, and Tissa in The Witcher. So I feel like out of our actors, she's the one who's gone on to kind of the biggest career since this movie.
Yeah.
And then we have Nora Jane Noon as Holly. Our it isn't specifically called a lesbian in the movie, but like our butch queen.
Listen, love her.
Love her. When they like introduce her as Juno's protege, I was like, I'm sorry. Her what now?
And they were roommates.
And they were climbing partners.
Wink. Climb each other.
Oh my god. So Nora Jane Noon is one of the fairies in Ella Enchanted.
Oh my god. That's so funny.
Isn't that adorable? Which she looks completely different in that because she has long hair and she chopped her hair off for this movie, which she was like kind of sad about actually. But,
I mean, it was a good look on her.
I know. I was gonna say like it feels like that's just her. Like it suits her so well that like I was like I just picture her walking around like this all the time.
Yeah.
She is Louise on Coronation Street, Dr. Karen in The Ipcris File, Detective Sergeant Claire on Hidden Assets, and Sheila in the Saoirse Ronan movie Brooklyn. So, and she's an Irish actress, which, as you're noting, we have actors from a lot of different places. We're going to get to why in just a second, but here's kind of a little hint to it. Despite the fact that this movie is set in North Carolina, this is a very British production.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it.
Which, like, much more on that later. A good chunk of the funding comes from this company, Celador, which is a UK production company that was, at the time, in 2005, looking to branch out into more film production because they are, at this point, best known for the show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Oh
Hilarious.
My god.
Yeah, this is
what a time.
This horror movie is made by the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire people.
Wow.
So weird.
That's wild.
So, now writing, we are going to bring Dog Soldiers back into the mix at this point. Because Dog Soldiers came out in 2002 at a time when British horror movies were at like a real nadir. Like not many were being made, not many were being watched. The ones that were being made and watched were not terribly good.
Sure.
Dog Soldiers, which as you said is a werewolf movie, was considered by some to be kind of the herald of this return of like the Hammer horror legacy of British horror.
Really?
Although Marshall himself considered it to be inspired more by westerns than anything else, he like wasn't really thinking of it as a horror movie. He was like, it's kind of like a western action comedy.
Yeah, sure.
But because of that reception, Marshall's super nervous about the idea of directing a horror movie because he doesn't want to be typecast. And so he is trying really hard to not do another horror, but he's finding that the only things that people want him to do after the success of Dog Soldiers are horror movies.
Horror. Don't shy away from it, man.
I know. Embrace it. Little shout out to Dog Soldiers, though. It does get like a tiny little on-screen nod because in the pile of bones that they're climbing over towards the end, there is a wolf skull that is from Dog Soldiers. So that's his little shout out.
That's cute. I've only seen it once, but that's so fucking cute. I love that.
But so he has this great idea for, as he describes it, quote, just a horror film in a cave. That's
No
how it
thoughts,
starts
just
out. No thoughts,
Nice.
just vibes. No thoughts,
Hey,
just caves.
listen.
So where does that idea come from? The source of all good horror ideas is childhood, of course.
Yes, of course.
So here's a quote. He says, when I was about 12, we went to a lead mine in Northumberland. We went right down into the mine and they said everybody switched their lights off. For the first time in my life, I experienced pitch darkness. They told us to stand still because just 50 yards to our right, there was a 200-foot sharp drop. I'm like, who's taking these 12-year-old children into a lead mine with a 200-foot drop and telling them to turn the lights off?
I think lead mine is where we stop.
Yeah, exactly. What are we doing?
Lead mine tour.
God, truly, I guess growing up a British child at the time he did was a very different experience.
Sure.
I do not know.
My God.
But he says there was that real awareness of just how scary it was down there, which stuck in my mind for years. I've never done any serious potholing myself. I love that that's what the Brits call it, potholing.
Nice.
And I'm not claustrophobic, but some of the photographs and video footage I've seen had an immediate effect on me. So that's kind of where the idea starts from.
Yeah.
But it's originally intended to be a mixed gender cast. He does not plan this to be an all-female ensemble. But here's how Marshall describes why we get this amazing all-women group. Quote, originally the cast was going to be mixed gender, but then it occurred to my business partner that horror films almost never have an all-female cast. So we made all the cavers women. But it was important that I didn't make them cliches, either ladettes, which love ladettes.
Do you?
Ladettes.
I guess, yeah. As someone who identifies as a little lad sometimes, I do
a
like
ladette.
That.
Either ladettes or victims. I talked to my female friends as I wrote and got advice. Basic advice, but it worked. The women discuss how they feel about the situation, which the soldiers and dog soldiers never would have done. Which, like, that's another thing that people bring up a lot between these two films, Dog Soldiers and The Descent, is Dog Soldiers is an all-male cast.
Oh, yeah.
And The Descent is all women.
It's so dude. It's so... Like, yeah, it's good. Right. It's really, but it's just like,
but it's very dude.
It's very dude. So, oh, I love that.
Which I said, episode band name the Ladettes. I want that to be a doo-wop group.
Oh my God! Like... Actually, absolutely. We haven't had a doo-wop on this, so that makes sense.
I know. There we go. And in another interview, he says, "quote I really hate the concept of chick flicks, and since we made this kind of film with all women, it was really an up yours to that whole concept. It's all women, but it's not about the fact that it's all women. I wanted to treat them as what they are, which is cavers." Which, like, there is like a little bit of that leaves me with like a little bit of like a pick-me feeling from him of like, this isn't like the other female films.
Well,
this is...
I also like chick flicks have a time and a place. I love a chick flick.
I do too. I think like we can...
He's overcorrecting. Exactly. Like I think he's like, trying to be like, I swear it's not like that.
We're going to hear much more of that from director Marshall as this goes on. But like, it's very, yeah. It's he's a complicated person. It's fine.
Okay. Good to know. Get that out of the way.
Get that out of the way. Like, he doesn't say anything horrible. He just has a couple of quotes where I'm like, yeah, that's a 2005 dude director.
Yikes. Really bad time for men. Worse
truly.
Now, but, you know,
yeah, really truly. It only gets worse.
Has there ever been
Has there ever been a time when men
wait
were
a second.
good? Let's think about that. So I mentioned that much like your film, there was another film that there was concern this would be compared to. So here's where this comes up. A year into development and pre-production on The Descent, the director finds out that there is an American movie called The Cave about a group of scientists getting trapped in an underground cave system and hunted by creatures that's going into production with a budget of $25 million.
Holy fuck.
This is the worst possible news, right?
No.
Not only is this film basically the same story and made for way more money, because we'll get to the budget in a second, but this was not shot for $25 million. It's going into production sooner, and so will likely come out first. So they're like, well, we're fucked. So here's a quote from director Marshall. He says, quote, "They had all the advantages and we had all the disadvantages, but it occurred to me that we had this more British sensibility. We're surely trying to do something bleaker. Let's go ahead with it anyway." So we were originally going to release after them in November or next February, but then we thought, let's get it out before them. That'll really piss on their chips.
That's the most fucking British thing ever.
It is so British.
Oh my God. I love that. Oh no.
Sorry, as I choke on my spit.
The chips.
As I choke on my chips. So themes, approach, and history. I know, isn't that like... Honestly, love that they were like, oh, so you're going to do it bigger and better than us, and we're going to do it first.
Who's heard of The Cave?
Exactly.
Not I. Did it even make it? I don't know.
I mean, the film, I believe, got made, but I think it was pretty bad, is the sense that I get.
Just a bomb.
So,
nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's on their chips.
piss on their chips. So, themes, approach, and history. For inspiration, he cites Texas Chainsaw, which, like, obviously.
Yeah.
I think you see that a lot, particularly in the scene where they're all in cabins before, like, the night before, where, like,
Sure.
that cabin decor is very Texas Chainsaw. The like, the bones and skulls hanging all over the place. He's also watching The Exorcist a lot, and Deliverance, which makes sense for the Deep South setting. It's like, it draws on a similar kind of, like, Deep South American horror. But he's also apparently a big fan of classic giallo, so a man after my own heart.
Hey.
Which I do feel like you kind of, there is a little bit of a giallo sensibility in some ways, in that even though it's motivated, this is an extremely neon movie. Like, the
Oh
lighting
my
is very
gosh.
colorful, the
Absolutely.
blood is very
Absolutely.
colorful, the violence is kind of stylized in a
Oh,
way.
yeah. That's what's so good about this film and sets it apart from every other cave film is the
Yes.
colors they use, like the green and the oranges, and then, like, oh my god. I mean, it's so, like, Technicolor and, like, I
Yes.
don't know, like, stage, yeah, like giallo, I guess, just with
Yeah,
the color. Oh,
it's
it's
very, like,
so good.
heightened.
Yeah.
Which we're gonna,
Most
again,
colorful
we're gonna
cave
talk
movie.
so much about the lighting in just
Good,
a
because
second
it's
here.
my favorite part, and I know nothing
Mhm.
about it.
Oh, I'm so excited. And that was intentional, by the way, the fact that you know nothing about it. That's very much what our
Mm.
director was after.
No shit. Damn.
Mhm. So, he also leans into, as he's writing this, the kinds of physical pain that the average person can really relate to. And so
Mm.
here's a quote. He says, "I specifically chose things that would make people wince. The rope burn across the palm of the hand, the bones sticking out. It's nasty stuff, but it's real stuff." And that's something that I've brought up on the podcast before, where, like,
Mhm.
a lot of us probably don't know what it feels like to get stabbed or to get
Right.
shot, but we sure do know what a rope burn feels like. So it's a realer
Absolutely.
kind of pain to us in
Oh, I
an
love that.
audience when we see that. It, like, we're able to viscerally place it in our bodies
Mhm.
better.
Absolutely.
Um, think that's so
Yeah.
genius. So where does this extremely British production shoot? Exteriors were filmed in Hertfordshire and Scotland, which is part of
Mm.
why, as I was watching this with Dana, who has been backpacking on the Appalachian Trail before, we were both just like, the nobody who has ever been to the Deep South could possibly think this is North Carolina. Like, the tree kind is
Listen,
all wrong.
it's
Um,
that's why I'm like, this is, like, the most
it,
non-American looking fucking
it's
movie ever, but
so British.
I
It's
honestly don't
so
even
British.
in
I don't
my brain,
care.
it's not in the US at
Yeah,
all. And yeah, it
yeah, yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
matter really
It
to I
doesn't
mean, for
matter.
me, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
with the creatures, I can kinda get that
the
sense, but, like, it
the
doesn't matter.
creatures. Yeah, like, it's definitely. I do think it's trying to tap into a very specific kind of, like, Southern Gothic sort of vibe in some ways, but I don't think that that's its strongest suit, I'll
Yeah,
say.
our deep south doesn't have mountains and thick rainy trees.
Yeah, it's, if this were actually in North Carolina, you would have a lot more deciduous trees around. It wouldn't be
Yeah.
just those, like, very British pines. But
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
So that's where the exteriors were filmed. Interiors, we're back at good old Pinewood Studios. And we've talked
Ooh.
about Pinewood quite a lot on this podcast. We
Yeah.
talked about it on Alien, but more recently, it was also the home of the underwater tank used on 1408,
Mhm.
which this film does do a whole lot of underwater work. They're not using, to my understanding, that same tank, because they actually, and you can kind of tell this watching the movie, the water's very shallow. So they basically had, like, a giant pan that they put on
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah,
set
yeah, yeah,
that they
amazing.
put, like, a couple inches of water in. They're not
Sure.
using the giant 18-foot submersive tank.
Right, right.
Um, but it's at that same studio. So it's also,
That's so
I would
cool.
imagine, they're working in an area where there are crews and equipment that are well prepared for work around water, which is
Mhm.
important for this film.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
Um, However, not a scrap of this movie shoots in a real cave. Not one
Really?
scene.
Really?
Nothing. It is all on a
Whoa.
soundstage. There aren't even real rocks in this movie.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god, my brain's actually kind
Mhm.
of, like doesn't know how to deal with that.
I
Wow,
know,
we're
isn't that
really we're
amazing?
inversed on that.
Yeah, that's why
That's
I
insane.
asked. That's when I was trying to figure out the budget, that's why that was
Budget,
the
yeah.
question, because, yeah,
Wow,
it's
not a one, huh?
not a single scene. However,
Oh my
because they
god.
didn't shoot in real caves,
Yeah.
for both practical concerns and safety reasons,
Sure. I mean, yeah, with yours specifically.
yeah, big time. But they did do a cast and crew caving trip / wilderness
Sure.
training beforehand.
Of
So they
course they
had
did.
5 days where they did rock climbing training, caving, whitewater rafting, which we're going to
Cool.
get to in a second for that opening shot.
Mhm,
So they
mhm.
had kind of like this little bonding
Yeah, little
experience.
boot camp.
But I was also thinking, like, my God, like, you can learn. I think Dana put it really well. You can learn a lot of like the basics of those
Mhm.
things in an afternoon, but to get good at them requires so long.
I was
So
gonna say
like
5 days does not sound like enough
it's
to
not
look like
enough.
an expert,
It's not. Which
which is
like
some of the they are, or at
yeah,
least most of them are in this,
yeah.
so.
And I did the one place where I really felt that was the scenes where they're climbing with just their hands across the roof. Like the
Mm.
amount they were struggling, I was like, as somebody who used to be a big rock climber,
Oh,
somebody who's been
funny.
I love rock climbing. Only in
Really?
gyms. I've never gone rock climbing on an
Got
actual
it.
rock face because it terrifies me. But I love a
Each
gym.
yeah, I was gonna say,
um,
damn.
but um, as somebody who's watched people who are much stronger and better than me at it do arm climbs, like with just their
Oh,
arms,
yeah, it's insane.
people who do that all the time would be able to do that without quite so much difficulty. And the
Sure.
difficulty that you're seeing from them is very, very real. Like they are
Mm,
actually doing that climb.
that's so
That is not a
crazy.
stunt. They are actually hanging
Damn.
from their arms and struggling.
Wow.
Which I think is
Good
really
on
cool.
them.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
that's really cool that they did that. And as someone who doesn't rock climb,
It's
wouldn't
fine.
notice, so
Like
yeah, for the
it
majority
didn't
of
it
us.
didn't like distract me from it at all. I
Yeah,
was
but
just
you could sense it and then be like, "Why are they struggling?" Oh, because 'cause they're doing
mhm.
it for real. That's so cool that they had
'Cause
them
they're
do
doing
that.
it for real and 'cause they'd only done 5 days of this beforehand. Like, most of them
That's
had never
crazy.
even climbed a rock before at all. Like, this
Yeah.
was,
Oh
like,
my
their
god. That'd be
first time.
terrifying.
I know! Which,
Like
again, good
like,
thing
were they
that
all
they
doing
shot this on a set, that this
Yeah,
was
I was gonna
not
s I wonder, like, I guess if you audition for it, you get it. I'm like, how much time did they have to, like, work on their upper body strength before
truly.
even going to the boot camp? You know what I mean?
Truly. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I can't imagine it was a whole lot because here we get to budget. Do you wanna take a guess
Oh my
at what this
god, all on a
cost?
fucking
All
soundstage.
on soundstage.
Oh my god. 2005?
Mhm.
I'm probably gonna overdo it. Was it like 20 million? 15?
Oh, oh my god, so
So
much
much more?
smaller. So much
Oh.
smaller.
Oh my god, what? 10?
Mhm. Smaller.
5?
Oh,
7.
so,
I
the
just guessed
number
every number between 1 and 20.
it's somewhere in there.
Is it
So,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
the budget number that I've seen reported, although the sources were kind of which I it's
Yeah.
always harder finding accurate numbers for films that aren't shot in America because like we have our own certain like
Yeah.
reporting systems. But what I found reported was that it cost 3.5 million pounds, which I then looked up the
Okay.
conversion rate. It would have been about 6.4 mil USD in 2005. So like
Wow. Holy
just a
crap. And they
tiny
had
bit more than yours.
I'm wondering if, like, mine, like, they had to pay the government a lot of fucking
That would
money
make sense.
because I'm
Yeah,
like, they didn't
to
have
shoot in
to
the actual place.
yeah, they didn't have to, like, have a lot of stuff, honestly.
Yeah, the
So
and again, production lasted 7 weeks, so, like, it wasn't, like, a
wow.
short shoot. Like, that's, like, a
No.
decent length
Mhm.
of time for this film. That feels, like, really
Absolutely.
comfortable. Um,
Damn, good on them.
yeah,
Holy
so it's
shit.
they really stretched that budget. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, especially with those sets, man. I'm gonna be honest, like,
Mhm.
rock sets look foamy
Yes,
to
yeah,
me. Like, you just know the
which
material, but these
we
don't look like
are
that.
going to talk a lot about how
Okay.
those sets were built because this
Okay.
film kind of innovated a specific kind of design for fake
Oh,
rocks.
fuck yeah,
Um,
because it did not
I
you could just
know.
always tell, even on, like, Rings of Power, like, the Lord of the Rings show, like, I'm like, that's a foamy rock.
Yeah, you could tell.
That is a foamy rock.
And the thing is, there was only one scene where I was like, that looks a little fake to me, and it was only because I knew already.
Right.
And it was just their first descent into the cave where there's actual daylight landing on the rocks. I was like, I can kind of tell there. But had I not known, it would have completely passed for me. And then
when they're descending, that's fake?
That's fake.
Oh my God. I love that shot so much too.
Mm-hmm.
That shot's so sick.
It's one of the VFX shots in the movie, actually, which there's not a ton of VFX in this movie. But they did do set extensions. So like they would use visual effects to make these rock caves bigger than they are. And they did that for that descending shot specifically in particular.
Damn.
But yeah.
Props to them. Holy shit.
All on a soundstage.
Wow.
All on a soundstage.
Wow.
So moving into cast and crew, I'd mentioned that there's a very specific reason why we have this very like worldly cast, and one of the reasons was because it's a British production and they wanted it to have like a wider appeal, and they were like, maybe if we have accents from a lot of different places, people in those different places will want to watch it. But the other reason, and I thought this was so smart, is so that we can tell the voices apart in the dark.
That's like the simplest reason.
Yeah. Because since they all have different accents, we've got one person from the Netherlands, we've got a Swede, we've got an Irish woman, we've got 2 British women, and we've got Natalie Mendoza, who's Juno, she's doing an American accent here. She was raised in, I want to say, Singapore. So I don't think she's doing her actual accent, because I'm pretty sure when I was watching the behind the scenes interviews, I think her accent is more like Australian, but but like everybody has different accents, so that even when you're not seeing their faces, you can kind of start to tell them apart. So smart.
Just the simplest reason is,
I know,
like sometimes the most genius.
I was so delighted reading that. I was like, of
Bless
course,
them for thinking about that, because it's a hard movie to watch because there's so much action to it that it's
and also like a lot of them kind of look pretty similar, and so like
listen, when the lights are flashing, they got blood on their face at a certain point. Like I've seen this movie a bunch of times. I still don't know anyone's fucking name usually.
Exactly. So also like 5 of the 6 of them are white, and like most of the white women are blonde. Like
white blonde women. Sorry if you're out there. Well, not sorry. They're really, white people in general are really hard to tell.
I have really bad white blonde women face blindness. Like they all look very similar to me.
It's just getting worse.
It's so true. It's so true. So let's talk about one of those white blonde women. So Shauna, who plays Sarah, our lead, really got put through her paces in this audition process. And in one article I saw mentioned that she auditioned 4 separate times. And according to Shauna herself, the last of these involved, quote, a final audition with the director in a mock-up of the caves where I was climbing and crawling around the whole time. After surviving that, I was told I got the part.
Oh my God.
Which like, that's so fun.
Being an actor, sometimes I'm just like, like I have a vivid imagination. I feel like I can act, but like when it comes with other people being in the room, I'm like, I could never. I would get to my head. That's so funny. That's so cute.
Shauna herself, not a fan of horror movies, and had some like interesting takes on the genre's relationship to women. She says that, quote, unlike most horror movies, we hope girls can enjoy this film as well as guys, because it's original and has 6 very strong female roles. We don't sit around and talk about periods. It's just real women in a fight for their life situation, which like my
Name
comment,
one horror movie where you sit around and talk around about
that periods. Was my comment. I was like, what horror movies are you watching where the women are sitting around talking about periods? Because like honestly, I want to watch it.
Flick. Yeah, those are those scary. We did.
Literally. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah, I get really bummed out hearing that from people. And I'm like, but she's not a fan of horror, so it's a person who's not a fan of horror.
And again, it's 2005. It's like very 2005 language getting used. Oh, here I have the name of the fun punny YouTube video that I watched. Their behind the scenes video is called Beneath the Scenes.
That's cute. So that's really genius, actually.
If you want to look it up, you can watch their Beneath the Scenes for the descent. And I think it's the actress who plays Beth makes a really good point here because like clearly the BTS crew asked all of them like, what was it like working with all women. And
Sure.
the actress, I'm pretty sure it's the one playing Beth, is like, well, all the crew was men, so it kind of balances out.
Ugh, really can't
Which I
hire.
was
Goddamn. Goddamn.
which I was like, it's a very good point. It's a very good point.
Yeah. Listen,
Yeah.
we're never gonna get it. One day I hope to get it right. We're never gonna get it right.
It's so true.
Men are never gonna get it right.
So now I want to talk about Natalie for a second. Ugh, I love her so much. So casting Juno was particularly difficult. And I also wanted to
Mm.
shout out that her name, Juno, obviously Roman goddess. And I was like, what is she the goddess of? Juno is the goddess of women and marriage.
Oh.
Which, you know, with the infidelity plot
Mm-hmm.
line that comes up, which I believe
Interesting.
from watching the beneath the scenes, there's a clip of the table read, and you see the women
Oh.
talking about what if Juno had an affair. And so I think it was the women's idea to put that into the
Wow.
script. I believe that was their
Wow.
addition. And the women had a
That's cool.
very big role in shaping the script. So that would be on brand with the way this movie was made. So
Sure.
think that
Very
was their
cool.
addition. But Natalie did something really fun in her audition to make herself stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a quote from director Marshall. He said, "When Natalie came in for the audition, she was chewing on an apple, just biting this apple all the way through it. She was the only person to bring a prop, and I was watching it and just saying, well, this is quite sexy. That works for me."
Oh my God.
And we ended up including that in the film too. She just has this real presence about her, both visually and physically.
Yeah.
And you know, we have that scene where she's like telling them all like stop and eat, and she's just like walking around ordering everybody around, being the boss with her apple,
Stop.
which
Yeah.
I love that that was something that was not written into the script, that Natalie was
But
like,
you just
this is
brought
who this character is. She's somebody who takes a bite out of life, you know?
I love hearing like specific actions that actors take in auditions, because
Mhm.
I did some like casting way back. And it's
Mhm.
always something that like I'm passionate about, because I love like choices actors make, that
Yes.
specifically that
Yeah.
early on, that then shapes this role and like
Mhm.
the story down the line. And it's just
Yeah.
like, that's a really fun one though. Oh
Mhm.
man.
Well, and especially I think all the performances across the board in this are phenomenal, but
Hmm.
Natalie really just like completely
Oh,
captivated
she's
me.
commanding. Yeah,
She's incredible. Like
absolutely.
anytime she's on screen, I'm not watching anybody else. Like she's
No,
just
no, you
everything.
can't.
Um and like I'm so torn about this because I love that the part was not written specifically as an Asian character, but I'm also
Hmm.
like, there is something that feels very strange, and like there's unintended consequences to having five white actors, and then the one
I
that's
mean,
like the quote unquote
the
villain
other.
of the group
Yeah.
is the only woman of color. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that
yeah.
um it does leave her feeling othered in ways that I don't think the director was necessarily conscious of as he was making it.
It doesn't sound like it,
I don't think he
but
was.
then when you're presented with that, what do you do with that? But like you
Exactly.
said, unfortunately.
And I love that she was just like, this character is so interesting and meaty,
Mhm.
and I'm excited to get to play a real person and not
Yeah.
China doll.
Right.
um
Right.
so like I just like all the props to Natalie Mendoza.
Oh, absolutely.
I
That's so
want to
cool
see
to
this woman
hear.
do so much more. Like
I mean,
I
she like, for what this movie was, some of those moments, specifically like Sarah, like her like face reaction sometimes, and
I
then her
know.
performance, Natalie's performance, are like so beyond.
It's
Like
incredible.
that's what makes this film like so
Yes. Like
like it's so hard to watch, but like again, it's like still one of my favorite movies. But
totally.
they make it so hard because it's
And like
so real and visceral.
the two moments that really, really struck me in her performance were that scene where she's eating the apple, like
Mhm.
before the first collapse happens,
Yeah.
where she goes over to Sarah and tries to apologize and tries to say like, I'm sorry that I wasn't there for longer. And
Mhm.
you can feel how much she's leaving unsaid in that moment. And
Yeah.
like you can see her choking back the words.
Mhm.
And like, oh, that performance was incredible. And then their
Yeah.
confrontation at the end between Sarah and Juno,
Yeah.
ugh, just like a masterclass in
There is
reaction. It's
I was gonna say
so
there's a lot of
good.
eye acting in this too, because even
Mhm.
like, I mean, even when she stabs, kind of that like that
Yes.
real turning point that like you as audience like really are
Uh-huh.
like, in this conflict. When she stabs her friend
Beth, the
accidentally.
sister.
Beth,
Yeah. She
just
looks.
the waiting on reaction of her, and that
Oh,
there aren't words spoken, and
yeah.
there is just like this, like I feel like I can see every single thought that's happening in her head in that moment.
Absolutely.
I'm so happy they waited on that moment.
So incredible. Well, and it's
Like,
also
held there.
that in particular was where it was like, from then on, I am completely on Juno's side. And I don't think the narrative wants me to be.
I
But
don't
like,
think so either, but I am.
when that
Fight
happened, I
me.
was like, oh my God, I could so see myself being in her shoes. It's such a horrible accident. And like, of course she's not gonna tell Sarah that she just accidentally killed Beth.
Because
Of
what's the
course.
point when you're
What's
all
the
trying to make it
point?
out?
If anything, it would endanger them more to bring it up, because you're going to put people into more of a heightened emotional state. And how did
Absolutely.
Holly die? Because she was in a heightened emotional state and went running in a cave, which you don't do.
Yeah, and after she was fighting all of these things, and she ran up,
Exactly.
I think she, like, that was my whole thing, is like, you announce yourself, bitch, we're in a cave. Come on. What the fuck are you doing? What do you expect from me?
So
Anyway,
yeah,
love her.
Natalie's performance is just like Oscar worthy, I think. Like,
truly, she's
just
so, again, beyond what this movie I think it set out to be.
Yeah. I truly think like the reason this film is as successful as it is in those two performances, Natalie's and Shauna's.
Absolutely.
Like, they just kill it.
Down.
So as I said, our director, complicated guy. Here's the worst quote that I have from him.
Just as
we're gonna get it out of the way. We're gonna get it out of the way, and then we'll continue. But
sure.
So this is, as I said, like the BTS crew was going around asking everybody about like, what was it like working with all women? And so director Marshall says,
God.
It occurred to me that working with 6 women could have been a complete mess. If they all turned out to be cold bitches, it would have been awful. But they certainly weren't. They all turned out to be so supportive of each other, and me as well. They're all a close-knit bunch of friends now, so it definitely paid off. And I'm like, oh.
Well, what do you know? Women aren't bitches all the time, Siena.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, so just because it's women, they're gonna fight each other the whole time? Like, oh my God,
have we not
that's
heard
so
of matriarchal
dumb.
societies? That's fine.
Yeah, like, again,
that's
I
such
love
like
that
a 2005 interview.
It really is. And like, again, I love that we do have an all-female cast. I don't think he was like, I think the feminism of this movie kind of happened by accident, or like it's because of the women. It's not because of the director.
Yeah, they were like, oh, this would be cool if we did something opposite, but no other like motive. I feel like As Above wanted like a strong female lead.
I think they were like actually thinking about it.
They tried to make her a real person.
I think he was just like, well, this would be cool. Like, very different.
As long as they're not bitches.
Oh no. So as I mentioned, they had this like 5-day kind of like boot camp training. One of the places you see that the most is the whitewater rafting scene, because this horrified me.
Oh, great. I'm already afraid of that.
They shot this with no stunt doubles against the explicit orders of their insurance company.
Oh no.
Yeah. So as producer Paul Smith recalls, quote, the insurers said they could not cover us for the scene on the rapids unless we used stunt doubles or had divers in the boat, which obviously they didn't, because you see the entire boat in the shot. There are no divers in there. But the cast were so keen to take part themselves that they insisted on doing it regardless, which, like, did they or did you insist? Like, it's hard to say. The actors do seem like they had a good time with it, but I'm also like, that feels like they were being pressured to me. Unclear, but yeah, they really shot that. They did not have stunt doubles. And I've done a fair amount of whitewater rafting. I've not done a rapid that's as intense as the one they went down. It's a pretty big one. It's a pretty big one. And like,
all of it's dangerous.
It's dangerous. And like, the thing about whitewater rafting is like, things can go wrong so quickly that like, that's why they were like, you need to have divers, because like, it's so easy for somebody to fall out of the boat and like hit their head and then they're dead. Like, it's
again, another thing that I want to be on a little inner tube or go kayaking on the calm water. That is my preference. I want to vibe. I want to chill. I'm not going cave diving.
And like, again, I enjoy a good whitewater raft, but like, I would never make a film where the characters are whitewater rafting and be like, we're gonna have no stunt doubles, because then if something goes wrong, you have no movie. Like,
Right. Yeah. He
that's
was like, the
such a,
first thing, let's shoot this first, and then
yeah,
also
like,
make it to
with
the end,
no
guys.
safety net. Yeah.
Don't be a
Like, that
bitch
is
about it. Make it to the
such a
end.
risk. It's such a risk. Well, and
Yeah.
again, that's like part of why I'm
For
like, I
like a
feel like, sorry, go ahead.
it's a
Go ahead.
it's a business, right? You're like, it's your job, and it's your job
Yes.
to keep people safe. So I think that's where, like,
Yes.
as a person who's supposed to have like the best interest of cast and crew, that's where it was
Hmm.
stupid. Not like, oh, would it look better? Like, of course
Exactly.
it's gonna look better. Of
Of
course they
course it's gonna
might
look
want to
better.
do it, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's
But
just a
like,
stupid business decision
yeah,
when you're
even
putting
if
people
the
at risk.
actors were like, put me in, coach, I really want
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
be like, fuck no, we need you to survive to
Yeah.
the end of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
shoot.
You need to be
Like,
one piece.
yeah.
It's so
Which I
funny.
also do, I wonder, part of the reason why I'm like, I worry that they were being pressured is because if you're in this environment where everyone's like, oh, it's a whole bunch of women, so they're going to be frigid bitches. Like, I feel
Sure.
like you're going to be working to prove that wrong, and you're not going to want to say, I don't want to do this out
Right.
of fear of getting cast as a bitch. So, like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a tricky spot to be in. But
Yeah.
that's the last of my like director complaints for this. The rest of this is going to be much more fun. So we got that out of the way.
That
Here's
was director light, I feel like.
yeah, it
We've
really
been
could have been
worse, so
so
that's not
much
too bad.
worse. Yeah.
I feel good about
Yeah.
that.
So like, it's a little bit icky, but it's very 2005.
I
It's
know, God,
and I
really, really ugh,
yeah.
time. Ew, that was a
So
really gross noise that I just made into the mic too. So sorry.
so now we get to move on to some more fun cast and crew stuff, and this I was so delighted
Ooh.
by. They kept the crawler design hidden from the actors.
Oh, fun.
Very like alien chest burster scene style, so that their
Sure.
reactions would be authentic when first seeing
Ah,
them.
I
And
love
it's
that.
actually they'd like the women knew that they were doing this, that like
Mhm.
they were working on the crawlers and keeping them separate from the women, so they kept trying to sneak around to see
Oh
them.
my gosh.
Which it's
Oh,
so cute.
that's really cute.
Because again, it's on a sound stage, so like they're not that far apart from each
Can you
other.
imagine they're just like
Um
in little robes walking
mhm.
around?
The footage the footage of the crawlers is
Uh-huh.
so much fun. Like,
I might have to
they
watch
had
some behind the
the
scenes.
best time.
Uh,
Actually, one of the main actors playing a crawler, I did not
mm.
write his name down, I'm sorry, but he's one of the actors who was in Dog Soldiers. And the director
Oh,
was like, I
shit.
just love this guy so much that like I wanted to work with him in some way, but I've got an all-female cast. How am I gonna fit
Yeah.
you in? You
Crawler.
wanna play a monster? And he
Oh
had
my God, how fun.
so much fun. He talks about how fun it was as an actor to be playing a role where nobody's ever going to know it's you, so you can just like completely let
Sure.
loose and do
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
And there's like all these great scenes of him like dancing around in like his crawler makeup and his underwear, just being like
That's
he's
so
having a
cute.
blast.
Oh man, what I
um
would give to be a crawler in this movie.
yeah. And there was like a whole lot of like the crawlers kind of like playing tricks on the girls and stuff like over the
Sure.
course of it.
Cute. Oh, I
But
love that.
I have a quote from Natalie about the first time that they actually properly saw them. She
Yeah.
says, quote, "When the moment came, I nearly wet my pants. I was running around afterwards laughing in this hysterical way and trying to hide the fact that I was pretty freaked out.
Oh my
Even after
gosh.
that scene, we never really felt comfortable with them." And
Really?
one of the crawlers describes it on camera. He's like, "It's like the worst blind date ever, isn't it?"
Shut the fuck up, a crawler with a British accent. It would take me out. I would be like a little like creeped out, but then they're so cute though. But
I
then a British accent comes out, I'd be
know.
like,
I
Game over."
know.
That's so funny. That's so funny.
And the fact that it was a very intentional choice on director Neil's part to not have either dancers or stunt people playing the crawlers. It was all trained
Interesting.
actors. And because he
Interesting.
really wanted them to be characters. And they worked with this on the creature design too, where every single crawler has a unique face. Um,
Yeah.
and the makeup designer, we're going to talk more about the crawler look in a second, but I loved they were talking about how they really wanted each of them to feel like their face indicates their personality. And there was one crawler that they specifically tried to make like look really stupid. And they were like, "That's our
I
dumb
feel like I
crawler."
wait, I
You
feel
know which
like I
one
know
it
which one that
is.
is.
You absolutely do.
They do. That's so fucking genius though, because they do, it doesn't have this like um like polished look to it. It looks like just like it's
Exactly.
almost like a Barbarian where it's just like
Yes.
inbreeding and being
Yes.
underground, kind of just like that's where
Mhm.
that lineage would have ended up. So
Yeah,
that
like
have them that's so
I think
good.
the fact that they weren't dancers is so brilliant because it would have felt too clean. It would have felt like,
Clean, that's the word I'm thinking
yeah,
of.
it would have
Yeah,
been
yeah,
like
yeah.
beautiful, and you don't want the crawlers to be beautiful. You want it to
No.
be like
Even
unnerving.
yeah, because even the
Um,
fights, you feel like you're like it looks like they're fighting like a human. Like even the way
yeah.
she goes to fight, like I think it's Juno's scene in the beginning when she like
Mhm.
goes to fight, like
Mhm.
it feels like an even fight, which I
Yes,
think I
and
like too.
that's something
It
that
feels real.
I believe it was Natalie playing Juno talked about how like they were like really wrestling these men and like
Wow,
trying their hardest to like bring all of their muscular strength to the
that's so
scene, and you
awesome.
see it on
Oh
camera.
my
Like
god, yeah,
it
those are
really
good
feels
fight
like a
scenes.
human fighting a human.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, it doesn't feel like anything's held back in those scenes too. But again,
mhm.
to your point, like if it was like felt like too choreographed or too like trying to be pretty or trying to be this, it's
Mhm.
just it wouldn't it just it feels so like the emotions and
Yeah.
the reactions feel so real in this that
It I think
that's
had
so
they been
genius.
dancers, it would have looked like Silent Hill, which is incredible for
Yeah.
Silent Hill. Like that works
Yeah. Yeah.
perfectly
Yeah.
there. But this is something very different. And so it yeah, I think it does a really good job, especially since the creatures have this very like amphibious quality to them.
Yes.
Like the way a
Little
frog moves is
salamanders.
not elegant, you know? Like it's not
I'm
dancerly.
sorry. I've seen
Okay,
elegant frogs. I've
okay,
not.
this is like such a weird like quick little tangent, but yesterday I was like sitting typing on my computer actually working on notes for this,
Hmm.
and I hear this thunk next to me, and I look over and a lizard has fallen from the ceiling.
No.
We still don't know where he came from, but I was like, "Crawler, hello?"
You're like, hi guys. Can I just stay here? I'm really sorry to bother you.
It's really cold outside, you guys. Can
Yeah.
I just warm up in here for a little bit?
Oh my god, that's
um
yeah, they're very amphibious looking.
Amphibious, yeah.
They kind of remind me of the scroll from like the Marvel verse a little bit. I'm trying to place of
Mm.
like I mean they're very like Nosferatu kind of
Ding
like
ding ding ding
yeah.
ding.
I mean
We're
jumping
gonna talk
ahead.
about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll be quiet.
Yep. No, but like you're onto something there. So,
Love that
also
voice.
last actor note before we move into like the proper making of,
Mm-hmm.
Nora Jane Noon, the one who plays Holly, our Butch Queen, um,
Yes, I love her.
obviously because she has like the most like visceral violent death on camera, she's the one who they had to do a full body cast for, so they made a
Oh
full
wow.
body replica of Nora Jane, and they let her keep the head afterwards,
Oh my god, that's cool.
and she used this to play a prank on her mom by hiding her own head in her mom's freezer.
Wouldn't you?
Oh my god, I'm like, I,
The
like, would
fun I
never
would
forgive my
have
child. Like,
the
I'd
fun
be
I would
like,
have with my own
"Disowned,
head.
out."
Oh my god, I
Ugh.
love it. You have to. You get to keep like when are you gonna get like I mean as an actor maybe it would happen again, but to get a mold of your
When are
own
you gonna
head.
get your own head in, yeah, like, your own
It's
dead
amazing.
head? It's wild. Okay, so now we get into the cinematography. So,
Yes.
this film was shot by Sam McCurdy, who had worked with director Marshall on Dog Soldiers already.
Nice.
He also goes on to shoot The Hills Have Eyes too.
Oh,
Yeah, which, Hills Have Eyes is actually going to play another role coming up in a second. But he also shot episodes of Shogun, Game of Thrones, Carnival Row, and Peacemaker. So did a lot of TV work.
nice.
And again, his interview in American Cinematographer. Oh my
This
god,
is
I
so
had
good.
so much fun with it, and they brought in so
They
many
do good
quotes.
interviews. Yeah,
Hmm.
they kind of crush it. When you can find that
It's
article, damn.
the best. Especially because, well, I'll get to that in a second. I don't want to jump ahead. So in that interview, he was talking about how much he was inspired for this film by the look of Halloween, which I would never have
Ooh.
thought, but like when you
Huh.
hear it, it kind of makes sense. Here's a quote. He says, Halloween has this graphic simplicity. Neil and I
Mm.
wanted that same feeling, that simplicity. We didn't want any visual clutter, just a straight ahead look that delivered the story. There is a quality to the horror films of the late 1970s, largely based on suspense. They didn't use gore, fancy lighting, or overly clever camera moves, just strong images. Um, which,
I
like,
mean,
yeah, absolutely.
I
He
love that.
also points out, though, that one of the difficulties he had shooting this was that a lot of the time the camera was a foot or less away from the subject.
Whoa.
Which means,
Whoa.
which like, first of all, incredibly hard for the actors giving those performances.
No shit.
Second of all, means like they really couldn't use zoom lenses like anywhere on this film because they're too tight. And I said, as a preview of crawlers to come, the crawlers themselves, very Jacob's Ladder style, were usually shot at 18 frames per second instead of 24 to give them those jerky movements.
So good.
So not quite as low frame rate as Jacob's Ladder used. I think that was using 12 frames instead of 18, so right in the middle. But they're moving at a slightly different speed, which I think is really classically effective in horror. Now we get to talk about the lighting. Oh my god, there is so much to discuss here.
So good in this. It's insane.
Because, obviously with a premise like this, you're going to have to rely really heavily on practicals, like lights where the source is on screen. And at this point, we come to perhaps a little bit of a controversy, because I read a whole bunch of interviews with the director first, and he said that, quote, he was like, they only used artificial lighting sources, quote, maybe once, that like basically all of this boy is it wrong. But so like the director says that they never cheated, that they maybe had one shot that had additional lighting and that everything else was lit by the things that you're seeing on screen. Which he especially points to the headlamps as key there, because he's like, we realized that because they're both wearing the headlamps, if you have two characters talking to one another, each character is lighting the other. However, ask cinematographer Sam, and you'll get a wildly different answer.
Man, why did the director speak like that?
I know, I'm like I love the fact that they did try to make it look like it was only practical light sources, but also like the gaffer on this film did such an incredible job. Give him credit.
Oh man, I wish I knew about that. That's so sad.
So here's what they actually did. Here's how this is actually lit.
I'm actually gagged at like the director didn't know what the cinematographer was up to.
See, here's the thing: is he knew. He's lying. And how do I know this? Because the cinematographer mentions having worked with the director on set to set up these lighting setups. Yeah, no, he just straight up lied.
Hello?
I think he was like, it would be a really cool narrative if, and then like, I guess just like talked himself into that being true. Oh I don't know.
Oh god.
So here's what cinematographer Sam says, quote, even in the really dim scenes, we tried to build things up with a backlight or additional contrast so that we could have at least a T2.8, which is, we're talking about the aperture here, how much light the camera is letting in. There were occasional shots that were lit with just torches or firebrands, getting us down to a T2.1 or a T1.4, and we knew we'd just have to crush those blacks in post. To that end, we tried to keep everything as clean and sharp as possible so that we'd have the best image possible to take into the digital intermediate. So the director lied, but we get even more info about this. Remember how the director was saying that the two-person scenes were just lit by each other's headlamps?
Yeah. Okay.
Here's how they actually lit them.
Oh my god. That's like, how do you... Okay.
It was a combination of, they had ring lights attached to the camera.
Oh.
Which, like, genius way to do it, because then your light source is shaped like a headlamp. It's still a round light source. And it does feel like it's coming from the other person.
Absolutely.
Like, it's a great way to play it. But they also, here's where we know that the director knew this was happening and was lying.
Oh,
they would also carefully place bounce boards, which are, just those like white cardboard boards to reflect the light back. So they would have the actors rehearse the scene to look and see where they were naturally turning their heads, where the light was going.
Yeah, girl, they would can't miss a bounce board. My god.
And but here's the thing. Then here's the quote. As we did rehearsals, Neil, the director, and I noted where the women would be looking and then stabled the reflectors up to get the best effect. He's literally the one helping attach the bounce boards.
Did he forget what movie he shot? He was like, oh, that was,
just lying out of his ass. It's incredible.
Oh
Which, like,
my
again, like,
god.
I so admire the result they got. I'm just like, tell
Mhm.
the truth.
Yeah, or, like, I
Um,
don't know, like, that more than that I don't know.
yeah,
That's wild.
yeah.
Yikes, bro.
Um, but we have even more lighting to talk about. I'm so sorry. I got so fascinated by this. I like couldn't stop. And most of the
Yeah.
interview he gave to American Cinematographer was about how they lit it, which was like amazing to
I
get to
mean,
find.
yeah. Yeah.
He said that the red flares especially were unbelievably hard to work with because they
Sure.
they burned super quickly, so they would run out of light really fast, and also the light spread was really small. So like they
Mm.
wouldn't, when they light one up and it goes off and fills the
And
whole
then
cave, it
yeah.
doesn't do that in real life.
Sure.
It'll light up like about a foot around the
Oh,
flare.
wow. Damn.
Um, so here's our cinematographer on the solution. He said, quote, "They're beautiful when they first go off, but become quite hideous as they create so much smoke and noise, like visual noise. So our
Yeah.
solution was to start with wide shots, showing the girls striking a flare and then tossing it off camera. As soon as the flare was out of frame, we'd bring up our supplemental lighting, gelled lamps on flicker boxes, and
Nice.
douse the real flare. In post, we then graded that wide shot of the real flare to perfectly match the following shots, usually just taking out a little bit of the red. Instead of lighting to match all those shots to the real flare, we just changed that one shot, which was much easier.
Genius.
So none of the color you're seeing is even the color of the real flares."
Yeah, I mean, no, it makes sense. I mean, I don't know what flares
Hmm.
give off, but it makes sense that, like, you have something like that
Yeah,
you'd have to kind of make it up afterwards of
absolutely.
what it looks like.
And like
That's so great.
it looks stunning. It's so compelling.
Oh,
And
it's
he
yeah.
also he makes a great point that the color of the light kind of very directly tracks the character's mental space too, which is just like
Mhm.
mwah. He says, quote, "We start with white light at the beginning and gradually strip that away to get more of the greens and reds to help suggest that our characters are traveling into the various levels of hell. Then we
Hey.
come back to white daylight at the end of the film." And I would
Yeah.
also point out here that the other place we get very intense green light is in the hospital scene, which we're going to talk about in a second. But that hospital scene at the
Right.
very
Ugh.
beginning is lit very much like the underground.
Yeah.
Think
Oh my
about
god.
that.
Cool.
Pin in
Yeah,
that.
the opening.
So, mhm, production design. Okay,
Yay.
production
Yeah, we get
design.
the rocks.
Yes,
Are we getting
that's
into the
like
rocks? Okay.
we're getting to the rocks, baby. Gonna rock and
Oops.
roll.
I
So,
smacked my mic. Sorry, I got too excited. Give
those
me those
rocks, man.
rocks. Listen, I love
Um,
rocks. Collect them. Love
My
them.
precious. The production design is by Simon Bowles, who also had worked on Dog Soldiers. So,
Mhm.
a lot of the same crew coming back together. Goes on to work on Eden Lake, The Deep, A Quiet Place Day One, and the
Mm,
Rosemary's Baby prequel series Apartment 7A that I mentioned. So he
nice.
is a
Yeah.
horror king production designer.
Yeah. Nice.
And as you can imagine, his number one job on this film is overseeing cave construction.
Ugh,
And God,
kills
does
it.
he do
My
a good job.
God. No
It's
shit.
amazing. So again, not only is this shot on sound stages, Borum Caverns, what they think they're going into the cave of, and then they find out they're in a different system at the beginning. That is not even a real cave in Appalachia. It's a made-up system that actually likely gets its name from Borum Cave in the UK, which is a partially
Got
submerged
it.
merged cave system with very restricted access that I
Mhm.
imagine the director was maybe partially inspired by. Um, the cave sets themselves were constructed under Bowles' supervision by a company called Armadillo, which I thought was very fun.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Um, it's so good. And it's run by a guy named Rod Vass, who has a background in archaeology, which I
Oh,
think comes
cool.
very much in handy for the work he goes on to do.
Absolutely.
And Armadillo also did the cave sets for the remake of The Hills Have Eyes. So they
There it
become
is.
cave specialists.
Oh my
Um,
god.
and according to their website, which their website is so cool, they specialize in basically two things, fake rocks and fake armor. And
Wow.
they're
Oh,
amazing at both. And
yeah.
like they did the armor on A Knight's Tale too.
I just watched
Mhm.
that yesterday.
Look at that.
And it's
Yeah,
so good. That's
it's
so
so
cool.
good. Yeah, if
Holy
you go
shit.
to Armadillo's website, they have a
Oh,
whole bunch of
absolutely.
behind the scenes shots specifically of the Knight's Tale armor construction. I was looking for ones
Siena.
for this. They didn't have it for this, but yeah. They do have a lot of shots of their fake rocks for other films, though, so you can see a little bit more of the texture.
Sure.
How did they do this?
Yeah.
According to Armadillo's website, they, quote, pioneered and developed the use of sprayed polyurethane resins and foams within the film industry, starting with 650 suits of armor for Ridley Scott's Gladiator.
No shit.
So they're the ones who kind of create this specific kind of foam rock that is more convincing than the foam rocks we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
And they actually only had, the number that I've seen cited is 21 cave sets. What I heard the director say in the actual interviews behind the scenes is that they only had 6. But the thing is, they were carefully designed to be modulated, or to be modular, so that they could reuse and recombine each of these cave sets into different ones. Where like one of the things they did was like they would take a wall and then like hoist it up into the air and turn it on a diagonal, so like the striations are going a different direction. They did a lot with whether the caves are wet versus dry, so like you would see them going through the same like little tunnel, which the women called the vagina on the set. Obviously you have to. There's this like great clip of them behind the scenes where they're like, we had a great time shooting in the vagina today, and then the director comes by and is like, well, you know, we've got to get it lubricated for the next scene, and they're like, we're lubricating the vagina. They had so much fun. They had so much fun. So yeah, all these modular sets. Once again, though, here, our cinematographer Sam has a little bit of different info to add to the picture, because one of the things that the director said was like he hated movies where you're underground but there's like these shafts of light coming from the ceiling. He was like, that's so fake, that's not what caves are like, so we wanted it to be like completely dark and enclosed with no real light coming in. And then cinematographer Sam comes in and says that Bowles built much of the caves with a self-expanding foam that had a nice surface texture and could be easily cut away to allow the camera or lighting in whenever we needed it.
Oh, interesting.
So they were constantly like shaving and adjusting the shape of them to move the camera through.
Whoa.
Which, yeah, it's
God, that horrifies me.
Wild. I know. Like,
for some reason. Like, do the wrong thing.
I also, I could not find any information on this, but it was one of the things that I kept thinking as I was watching the film is, if all of your caves are made of polyurethane, every single footstep would have to be Foley. Every single sound in those caves, every time they step on a rock and it sounds like rock, cannot be the sound from production.
Yeah, just when they're like, do you think even when they're like, I wonder what the ground was made of?
That's a good question. I don't know what the
ground
was
but there's
made of.
so much up.
There's so much up
in the air.
And so much of them climbing on rocks too. And it's like, if all of that is
so crazy.
foam, that's not going to sound right at all. And I was also thinking about this because the sound design is so important to this film, because not only are you dealing with monsters that echolocate, it's part of what creates this sense of the space being as large as it is that the sound is so cavernous and echoey.
Yeah.
All of that would have to be faked in post-production.
Oh, absolutely.
None of that, because like, again, a polyurethane surface is not going to reflect sound the way a rock is. It's going to absorb it. So like,
I'm so interested that there's like, could you tell any of that sound quality in any of the behind the scenes? Like, were they like on set or off set for that?
There was some footage of them on the set, and it just sounded like a sound stage. Like, you know, it's like a big room, but it's not, it's like a big concrete room, so it's like that kind of a dead sort of echo, whereas rocks have a living sound, that's part of why Haley recorded in a cave, is because like it's a very specific alive kind of echo.
Because it can go through so many different like cracks and bends in different ways than like a soundstage would. That's crazy. I didn't even think about that aspect of it. On a stage, they then have to deal with.
I can't even
all
like
of
this
that
is
as well.
it reminds me of, I just found out that like almost the entire for the movie Castaway, the entire section that's on the island is all ADR. There's not a single sound that's from production because it was too noisy, because the sound of the waves just like made everything mush. So all of it is ADR, every single sound that when they're on the island. And I'm like, I feel like they would have had to do a similar type of thing in this situation where like I feel like I imagine they probably didn't take the actors down into a real cave to do ADR, but I do think it's probably pretty likely that they did have whoever was doing their sound design go get a whole bunch of real cave recordings in order to make this feel real. Yeah, they must have had a really fun job.
I mean, that they must have had to do, but that's the aspect I didn't think when you said sets. It's like, oh shit, all of
like,
that.
I mean, especially because like again, I've been like deep in sound work on my own film. I was just like, what a nightmare you're setting yourself up for having like the exact wrong kind of sonic texture. And like you can like add an echo effect onto a voice, but it's not going to sound like a cave. It's going to sound like a room. Like it's going to sound like a big room. And subconsciously you can tell the difference even if you're not thinking about it.
Oh yeah, like, absolutely.
You will feel it if that sound is wrong.
Yeah, something's off. You'll feel something's off for sure. That's so funny.
So incredibly inspired by that. The sound design, whoever they are, they did an amazing job.
Bravo, because truly, have not noticed that once. In the best way.
That's the thing about sound design. Yeah, it's if they're doing their job right, you're not thinking about the sound design, and
if you're thinking about it, they hopefully want you to be thinking about it.
Exactly. All right, let's talk about gore. So I found a quote from director Marshall where he says, I'm so curious about this. He said, the prop guys were constantly nagging about the fact that there was so much claret. We were drenching the set in blood every day. It was like an abattoir. I don't think I'll ever be able to top that. But I like paused on this for a second and I was like, claret's red wine. Were they using red wine for the blood on this film? Because that's a fake blood approach I've never heard of. I've never heard of somebody using red wine because like
it sounds expensive.
A, it sounds expensive, but also B, it's like the wrong texture. Like wine, especially like a large quantity of red wine, it's red, but it's see-through red, right? Whereas
do you think that little like pond scene
that might be
because then you can fill it up a lot.
That
was pretty swishy.
It's very swishy, but I was thinking, you know, like wine's watery. The color of blood is very opaque. But in such low lighting, you might be able to get away with it because we're never actually seeing like shafts of light shooting through blood.
And if it's mixed with stuff too, I wonder if it just helps the quantity more than
maybe they had like some sort of a coagulant or something in there. But I was like, claret?
Interesting.
Like, what a weird. Maybe he's joking, but it didn't seem like it the way he said it. Like, it wasn't delivered like a joke.
Yeah. Interesting.
So now we at last get to our beloved crawlers. I'm so excited to talk about them.
Little bat boys.
So let's talk about the backstory of our little bat boys. So he kind of like director Marshall basically created a whole backstory for them and says, quote, they've evolved in this environment over thousands of years. They've adapted perfectly to thrive in this cave. They've lost their eyesight. They have acute hearing and smell and function perfectly in the pitch black. They're expert climbers, so they can go up any rock face, and that is their world. Which I will say the one thing that I struggled with the design of the crawlers was like every time that they're like crawling over a person and can't tell because they're blind, I was like, but they could smell them, right?
Like, also, like, they don't feel like rocks.
Right. Like, I guess maybe they're thinking that it's a dead body, but then wouldn't they eat it anyway?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like,
listen. Yeah, there's some.
If you think about it too hard, it becomes a little bit difficult. But like, it's
also
still
they're echolocating. Like, they can tell the shape of a human at that point because there's so many skulls down there. So
exactly. Also, if their hearing is that sensitive, they would hear the sound of you breathing. Like you're not gonna fool them like this.
Yeah. They'll get you.
They'll get you. He also was thinking a whole lot about the creature's sexual dimorphism, aka why do we get male, female, and juvenile crawlers? Here's director Marshall. He says, and this is a point that you brought up at the beginning, quote, "It is a colony, and I thought that it was far more believable than making them the classic monsters. If they had been all male, it would have made no sense, so I wanted to create a more realistic context for them. I wanted to have this very primal, very feral species living underground, but I wanted to make them human. I didn't want to make them aliens because humans are the scariest things." And there's kind of a lot of debate among reviewers whether or not they come across as human to you, but I think hearing the director's intent there is really interesting.
Yeah.
And speaking of directorial intent, here we get even more into how he sees the relationship between the humans and the crawlers. And this, again, is something you were talking about. He says, "This is not about 6 cavers being attacked by savage monsters. This is a film about a happy society of savage monsters being attacked by these girls because they kind of mete out as much terror and pain as the crawlers do."
Yeah. Listen, they're just vibing down there.
Yeah, the women are the ones who are invading their territory.
Yeah, and then they're just getting they're like, we were just hanging out.
Yeah.
We didn't come above. We're not going to chase you out of the hole that you just crawled out of. Like, we're just hanging out. And we just happen to eat the thing that comes down here because what else are they really getting? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And like, you know, they clearly have their hunting grounds. They'll come up at night and like grab an elk and let it decay or whatever. But they're not going out of their way to destroy humans. They're just like down living their little best cave lives.
That's why I love it too. Is like I'm glad to hear there was like a point from him because they do seem like human evolved.
Yes.
Like, especially if you're gonna get into like the whole southern like whatever the very barbarianness of inbreeding all of that. I'm like, it would make sense that over thousands of years you have this colony that like came down, whatever, maybe they were cavers at one point and then they whatever. So it makes sense, and that's it's nice to hear the validity in that.
Right?
And yeah, it's a very like interesting way that they're not like really the villains. They're just
like
everyone's a little deceptive and villainy
and it
gray in this world.
Sarah especially starts taking like a lot of pleasure in like destroying them in a way that feels like a little bit at times. Like towards the end of the movie when she's like gouging their eyes out, I'm like, you did not have to keep gouging that. Like those eyes already popped out. Why are you still pushing? Like,
well, that's the thing too. Like even in some scenes, they look like they're just sitting to like see what they're up to.
Yeah.
And not even like trying to attack really until like one of them makes a move and they're like, oh shit, okay, we're gonna get you then, I guess.
Like they very much gave me the impression of like the same way a lot of predatory wild animals are just as scared of you as you are of them. Like I think they were kind of just like, what's this creature gonna do? Like I'm gonna keep an eye on it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I attack now.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Justice for Juno and justice for those little guys.
Agreed. Justice for Juno, justice for the crawlers.
The crawlers. Creatures.
But as you picked up on, one of the major sources for the inspiration of their design. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, my internet connection just dropped for a second. Now I'm back. Great. So as you picked up on, one of the main sources for their design was Nosferatu, the original one, obviously.
Yes, yeah.
You really see it with like the ear shape, the claws, the pallor. A lot of reviewers also noted it being very Gollum-esque, but I like the Nosferatu comparison quite a bit better.
Yeah, me too. I don't know. That feels right.
I don't think it's that Gollum-y except for the skin color. Like that's the only similarity I really see.
Yeah, but they're also like slimy and salamander, like more like salamander aquatic vibes. Yeah, I don't know. I guess they're crouching. I don't know.
I guess. Like I think it they're doing something different. It's not just a Gollum ripoff.
Yeah.
So the look of the creatures was designed by SFX makeup artist Paul Hyatt, who also did Attack the Block, which I love. The Woman in Black, amazing. I haven't seen that one, but that's the Daniel Radcliffe horror movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. It's always on my watch list. I never get to it.
Same. And the miniseries War and Peace.
Nice.
And initially, the creatures actually looked super different until they did pre-production camera tests and decided they needed some revisions. So here's another quote from our cinematographer, Sam. He said, quote, "They started off much more wide-eyed and creature-like, but we evolved away from that to something that looked more human. At first, their skin was pure white, but Neil and I immediately decided that they had to have a grubbier underground look. They needed that filth. Plus, their skin would have had an improbably stark look if we hadn't brought it down. They'd look almost phosphorescent. And although that was the original idea, we could see in the tests that as soon as we put the crawlers in a dark environment, they were far too bright, too reflective. For the story, we needed them to blend into the shadows at times." One of the actresses has a great description of this. I want to say it's the one who plays Rebecca. She says, "It's as if a Klingon and Spock had a child, and it was totally hairless and a bit shorter and quite sinewy and was cousins with Gollum."
No! Don't do Spock like that. Why? His pointy little ears? That's all we're thinking?
Yes! It's so
Oh.
cruel.
No.
And rounding out production, quick shout out to the composer, David Julian, whose work I've actually covered before on this podcast because he also composed the score for Cabin in the Woods.
Whoa. Okay. Damn.
Totally different kind of vibes, but
completely. Amazing.
Other and super interesting career because other Julian scores include Insomnia, Eden Lake, which we had another person who worked on, and all three of Christopher Nolan's first movies. He did The Following, The Prestige, and Memento, which
shit.
Whoa.
Damn.
And according to IMDb, at least, I didn't find this verified anywhere else, but it makes sense to me. Director Marshall had been listening to David Julian's score for Insomnia on repeat while he was writing this.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
Isn't that sweet? I love that. I love a director composer meet cute like that. Okay, we're rounding the corner. Now we get to the release. But never fear, there's still weird shit that happens with this movie's release that we got to talk about. So this comes out in the UK in early July of 2005, but it doesn't actually make it to the US until the 2006 Sundance. And then its wider US release doesn't hit until summer of 2006, so we get it like a full year later in theaters here than in Britain. And my God, does this movie do well. Do you want to take a guess at how much it made?
Oh my God. Better than mine? Was it better than mine? Oh my God. Holy shit. Poof. I'm going to say like 65 mil.
Slightly lower, but you're in the right ballpark. It was 57 mil.
Damn.
Against its production budget of like around 6.5 mil. And slightly more than half came from overseas markets, which makes sense because it's from overseas.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, as you know, in an echo of several films I've covered recently, the versions Americans first get is not the full film. There are two cuts of The Descent. And as one of our listeners thankfully tipped us off to, making sure that I covered the right one, they're only off by about 1 minute, and it's right at the very end. So it's a very important minute.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing you've seen both of them.
Oh yeah, I hate the one we got.
The American one?
Yeah, the American one. The UK one's the one to watch.
The one to watch, yeah. Which, interestingly, the director may not totally agree, but we're going to get to that in a second.
Well.
So, basically, spoiler alert, whatever, in the original British ending, Sarah escapes from the cave. You have that amazing shot that becomes the poster of her, like, coming out of the ground, like, gasping for air. She gets in the car, drives away, pauses, stops the car, lets herself cry, and then hallucinates seeing Sarah, or it's not Sarah, seeing Juno next to her, like the ghost of Juno, with these great, like, bloody tears coming down her face. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And then she flashes back to the cave, and we see this moment where she's like in the cave, she's waking back up again. She sees her daughter there with the birthday cake, which has 5 candles on it, like the 5 characters who've died. And like the movie ends with her in the cave, hopeless and hallucinating.
Yeah.
The American version Has everything up until her going, like, her waking up in the cave. So it ends with her driving away and then seeing Juno next to her.
Like the ghost, yeah.
The ghost, yeah. And that's where it ends.
Which is so 2005, to be fair.
It's very 2005.
It's very like The Ring.
Yeah. And it gets released in America on the DVD as the unrated version, where you cut back to the cave, but it's actually not about ratings at all. It's not that was like too graphic or something for American audiences. What was it? Well, it's about what the distributors thought American audiences would find palatable. So here's a quote. So this film was released in America through Lionsgate, and I have a quote from Lionsgate marketing chief Tim Palin, who said, quote, "It's a visceral ride, and by the time you get to the ending, you're drained. Marshall had a number of endings in mind when he shot the film, so he was open to making a switch." The thing is, Marshall actually does confirm this story, and apparently he had to sub in an alternate shot in addition to cutting time in order to make that version work the way it does. So he did kind of shoot some different versions. And he brings up in particular the ending of Texas Chainsaw Massacre in describing why he was okay with doing this, and says, just because she, meaning Sally from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, gets away, does that make it a happy ending? There are many conspiracy theories abounding, but it is my choice. I thought we should give it a try. I don't have a favorite ending, actually. If you asked me, I couldn't pick between the two. We had toyed with both endings in the editing room to the point where we were really wondering which we would use. So we stuck with the scripted ending for the UK and the rest of the world, but when the opportunity came to release it again, I thought I would give it a shot. Part of the reason I think he does this is that audiences in Britain are very divided on the original ending.
Really?
About 50% love it, about 50% hate it. And so I do think that there's a part of him that's like, maybe people will like it better if I ended a little bit sooner.
Sure.
Yeah. So I do think it's like probably worth, I don't know if I would say it's worth watching both, because again, one just cuts earlier. So you see the full version if you watch the unrated.
They both kind of, I don't know, they both kind of do the same thing of like she's going to be haunted by this, like whether she makes it out or not, like to your point of or to his point of Texas Chainsaw, like if she gets away, is she's like, we never see
does she
after.
get away?
Yeah.
I think it is very 1408 of this idea of like whether the room is destroyed or not, like it will continue haunting him. So now that we've got that out of the way, though, here's like the weird, horrible thing that happened with this film's marketing that was like nobody's fault. It's just like atrocious timing.
Oh no.
So while the film, as we know, did extremely well box office wise, its ads in England at the time of its release were victims of timing. See, the London bombings happened on July 7th, one day after the film's festival premiere. This was a series of 4 suicide bombing attacks, 1 on a bus and 3 on the London Underground.
Oh, man.
And, oh my god, it gets so much worse, Al. There were advertisements for the descent in the underground and on the bus that exploded.
Oh, God.
What did these ads look like?
Oh, no.
They were, it's so bad. They were posters of a woman screaming in a tunnel with the caption, "Outright terror, bold and brilliant."
Oh, no.
So,
oh, no. That's just really haunting.
So bad.
To have.
And so the overseas distributor Pathé very quickly takes its ads out of the underground and removes the word terror from its poster pull quotes, because like it's a terror attack. And then tries to rework the approach to the ad entirely. Here's a quote from marketing chief Anna Butler. She says, "We changed tack to concentrate on the women involved, all standing together and fighting back. That seemed to chime in with the prevailing mood of defiance that set in the weekend after the bombs," which I think is like a nice way to try and make the best out of a terrible situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they still have to do their thing, right?
They still, they had nothing to do with this attack. They're victims of timing. They could never have known this would happen, but
of course,
Director Marshall, though, gives a little bit more context on just how terribly this all worked out, where he says, quote, "The film opened the day after, and people were still trapped underground in reality. So no one really wanted to go see a film about people trapped underground.
Being trapped. I mean, they could have pushed back the release date. Like, let's be so
could
for
have.
real.
And like perhaps they should have, but
just a week. My God.
Yeah. Also, one of the big posters for The Descent was on the side of the bus that blew up, and all that was left on the side of the bus was a quote from it saying outright terror with Shauna's face. The title was wiped out. Shauna was pretty upset about it, and it was on newspapers all across the country. Like, yeah, poor Shauna.
Oh my God, I'd be so haunted by that. I'd be so haunted
horrified.
by that. I'd be like,
yeah.
I swear.
I had nothing to do with this.
I mean, yeah, like, what are you going to do? It's an advertisement on a bus. Like, that's going to be...
But God,
you know what I mean?
The terrible luck that the specific bus that got attacked was one that had the ad for The Descent on it. Like, oh, that's so
wild,
bad.
actually. Like, to think about that. Like, of all things happening, like, what do you actually do?
What do you do? Like,
you put out a PR statement, like, and you push things back. I think you just
I do think they should have pushed things back. I do. But like, God, it's I'm sure they were also shocked and didn't really know how to process it, because this was, the early 2000s were a time when I feel like we've become very desensitized to the idea of this kind of public violence because so much more of it has happened. I think at this point in time, we were still so shocked by the idea that people could do this that I'm sure there was a bit of them that was just like, this can't be real. This, like, how do we even process this?
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, we're too desensitized at this point.
Yeah. Which, it's so awful.
Yeah.
But
yikes.
So moving on to reception, now that we've got that horror out of the way.
Yeah. Yikes, man.
It's God, yeah, really was not expecting that when I started researching.
Yeah, that's kind of, I mean, the chances of that happening, like, are so wild. And then to have it be, like, what was left be what it was, like,
it makes me think of that quote.
It hurts.
It makes me think of that quote from Nope about, like, have you ever had, like, a bad miracle? Like,
yeah,
that's, like, truly a bad miracle.
Yeah, oh my gosh, poor guys.
Yeah, so, like,
everybody, poor victims too.
This, it's so awful, and obviously the film still did well, but they very much think that it would have done better had that not happened. And I'm sure
there were like bigger things going on than a film release, but that's just me.
Agreed.
I don't know, humanity.
Agreed. So the film, release-wise though, immediately beloved, only becomes more so with time. It currently holds an 87% from critics on Rotten Tomatoes.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck. Damn. As it should.
As it should. It deserves it. And a 76% from audiences.
Boo.
Yeah,
that should be higher. That should be like 96.
I agree. So Roger Ebert himself was in surgery at the time of the release, so he didn't get to cover it himself, but his editor, Jim Emerson, filled in for him, gave it 4 out of 4 stars, and said, finally, a scary movie with teeth, not just blood and entrails. A savage and gripping piece of work that jangles your nerves without leaving your brain hanging.
I'm sorry. He should have been writing Roger Ebert's place the whole time.
He really does a good job of, like, capturing the Ebert tone, doesn't he?
Yeah, but writing a little bit, I don't know. That was a really good sentence.
It's very good. Yeah. Yeah.
Really good review. Very cool.
So more negative reviews, though, mostly were critical of the creatures, actually. Some critics felt like they kind of ruined the immersion in the narrative. Others felt that they were so alien that, as Lawrence Topman put it in the Charlotte Observer, quote, this otherness gives humans permission to mutilate them without seeming too disgusting to be sympathetic. Which I think it's a really interesting take. I did not take it that way. I just was like, oh yeah, the humans are disgusting. Like, that's what I got from it.
I think I can get how, like, mass audiences aren't gonna walk into it as intellectually thinking about that. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you're not like a fan of horror, but everyone's going to see this horror movie. You're gonna go in, you're gonna see this, you're gonna be like, oh, it's a monster, blah blah blah.
Right.
Why is there a kid? Blah blah blah. So I think it's also like a genre.
It's a genre matter.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know if you would agree with this, but to me, the most monstrous thing that happens in the entire movie is Sarah breaking Juno's leg.
Yes!
That is, especially because we've just seen her do a mercy killing like 10 minutes beforehand.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen her enact violence that is to save or to take somebody out of their misery. And that is such a, like, Juno would have gotten out had you not done that, and you know
Absolutely.
that, and you also wouldn't give her at least the relief of killing her. You specifically mangle and injure her so that she'll get ripped apart by creatures. Like,
Yeah.
that is truly sadistic to me.
It doesn't show, and maybe, like, I think intentionally, it doesn't really show, like, for me, I don't see Sarah's growth in this journey. I do see
Yeah.
Juno's.
Absolutely.
Because also Juno accepts, like, okay, I did her wrong. I'm gonna accept that. This is my faith in that moment, like, fate
Yeah.
in that moment.
I
But
so
Sarah
believe her
doesn't get
when
there.
No, I so believe Juno when she says, like, I will not leave without saving Sarah. Like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
make this up. I'm going to try and be a better
Yeah.
person.
I'm
And
gonna have
Sarah
my
goes the
redemption.
exact opposite direction.
I think
She
she's
descends.
Yeah, I think she's so ridden by grief and thinks
Mhm.
that or being up whatever, she's so, like, overrun by that emotion. It
Yes. Yeah.
doesn't it gets her out, right? But I also
Mhm.
think, she I think she thinks that's gonna make her feel better in that moment, like, "Oh, if I
I
do
think so
this, I will
too.
feel better, and then I'm gonna get out of here, and then things will be
Yeah.
good."
And it
Which is why I love that
neither
haunting
thing
of, like, yeah,
happens.
it's
Yeah.
not gonna happen no matter
Like,
what.
you
Where I
both
think,
don't
like
get out and don't feel better.
yeah, but
Like,
that's what, like, As Above does that too, right? Like,
Mhm.
you have to accept and put that out there, and it's like,
Exactly.
Sarah's not a good you're not like, you being sad because your family died horribly
Mhm.
doesn't give you an excuse
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
be a shitty person that yeah,
Exactly.
the Juno leg break at the end, I'm like, what did Juno had an act she act okay, cool, she cheated. What the fuck
Yeah.
ever. We're literally life and death, and there's creatures down
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
What the fuck did I do in this moment then? I accidentally
Exactly.
stabbed somebody who
Yeah.
ran up behind me right after I was attacked
Attacked by
by
a
multiple
monster.
monsters in a dark
Yes.
cave.
Yeah.
What did she do wrong?
Yeah.
Please tell me.
Mhm. Mhm.
Anyways,
Like,
I will forever die on that hill.
there's like a Greek tragedy moment to everything that happens with Beth's death and Beth misunderstanding what Juno did and then passing that misunderstanding on to Sarah. Like, it's very
I
like
know it. Yeah, she didn't even fucking say I'm like, "Oh my god, can we just all" I mean, but
it's
that's the reality too that I love is there's not this exposition.
mhm.
They're
It
not, like, having
all
deep talks. They're trying to get the fuck out of there, really.
Yeah, and
They
it
have moments, but
all the character development happens just on their faces. Like, it's not in dialogue.
yeah, it's
Um
so good. So it's, like, in that sense, it's, like, very that's why I think I like it so much. It just feels so real. That's
Mhm.
why I'm gagged I was done on a set 'cause
Yeah.
everything
It's
about it
insane, right?
just,
And even Dana was saying the same thing too, as somebody who again has like gone on the Appalachian Trail, has been caving there, like all this stuff is
yeah.
like, I can't believe this is
It's
a
so
set.
good. It's
Um,
so good.
and speaking of how beloved this film is now, it's listed at number 1 on Bravo's 13 even scarier movie
Oh
moments.
my god, stop.
And remember that I've brought in like a ton of like best horror movies of the 2000s list, including
Mhm.
Bloody Disgustings. But remember that Time Out poll of horror creators that I brought in a couple of times before?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's like they brought together people like John Carpenter and like
Yes, yes,
directors,
yes.
creators, people who make horror movies and polled them on
Yes, I
what
forgot
their
about
favorite horror
that.
movies were.
People's
Um,
Descent.
It placed it the original poll they did, it placed at number 39 on the top 100.
Dang.
In the 2025 redo, it dropped down to 50, but
Well,
that's still
that's
high,
I
and
mean, for what it is, that's insane.
it actually put it slightly above Deep Red, which is number 52.
Oh, oh,
Which,
dang.
yeah,
I
so
forgot
it's
how close
like
they are.
that's how good
Wow.
horror creators think this film is.
Oh
It's
my
like
god, I
on
love that
Dario
makes me
Argento
happy.
level, which I think the director would love because he's a giallo guy. Um,
Right? That makes me happy because this movie is just,
mhm.
like, so I don't know. It's just so good. I don't have words.
I know, I know. Okay, so there is a Descent Part 2, as mentioned. It's
Mhm.
neither written nor directed by Marshall, but he does serve as an EP and had actually
Oh,
like
okay.
quite a bit of creative involvement in it. So he was overseeing the process. They go with the American ending, so it takes off from her having gotten out of the cave. The
Mhm.
idea is that she then goes to the police, is like, this horrible thing just happened to me. The police don't believe her and make her go back with the search party into the
Oh,
caves,
no.
which I think is a really good premise. Like, that's pretty fun.
I mean, if you're gonna
Um,
do a part 2, there
that's
you
pretty much
go.
how you do it.
Pretty much
Yeah.
writes itself.
It was released in 2009 in the UK, but went straight to DVD in the US. Sequel
Okay.
holds a 49% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is
I mean,
honestly like not
it's a
terrible
sequel.
for a straight to DVD sequel. Like that,
Yeah,
it could be so much worse. So
absolutely.
possibly worth watching. I don't know. Again, all 6 actresses come back to reprise their roles.
That's
So,
fun. I love that.
um, it's also directly referenced for the redo of Lara Croft's look in the 2013 Tomb Raider game.
Oh,
There's actually
funny.
even like a shot quote of that like Apocalypse Now moment where Sarah comes out of the like bloodbath. Like
Yeah.
they like do that exact shot in Lara Croft, which of course there's a
Funny.
Tomb Raider quote at the beginning where one of the characters is like, "I'm an English teacher, not fucking Tomb Raider."
Yeah.
So Tomb Raider goes on to like do a
Funny.
little hat tip.
That's
And
cute.
now here we get to the fan theory that I
Oh,
mentioned
yeah,
earlier
yeah,
on.
yeah.
So I'm curious if you've heard of / thought about this. There is a very popular fan theory that the monsters are not real. Sarah hallucinated all of them, went
Oh.
insane in the caves, and she's the one who killed everybody.
Hmm.
And the thing is, director Marshall has kind of given this a little bit of credence in one specific way, which is that he has said on the record that there was originally, you know, that hospital hallucination scene I was talking about where she's like running and the lights are green and the lights keep
Yeah,
going
yeah,
off.
yeah, yeah.
There was originally a crawler in that scene, like hidden in one of the
Oh,
shadows. And
interesting.
he took that out because he thought that that was a little bit too obvious about the idea that maybe Sarah's hallucinating.
Sure.
Obviously the sequel completely undercuts that possibility and it's like it's real, this really happened,
Yeah,
blah
yeah,
blah
yeah.
blah. But I think it's an interesting, I don't think that was the right narrative choice. I think it would have been interesting had it been opened up a little bit more to that possibility.
Sure,
Like
sure.
I would have liked to see a crawler in that hospital scene. I would have thought that was
Yeah.
pretty interesting. But
Yeah.
um
Huh.
but it's just a fun
Yeah,
idea to
well,
chew on.
it's like it feels more like a true grief journey then.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
I absolutely get where people get that. It's kind of like a fun way to look at, especially if he talks about
Mhm.
having those demons kind of spawned from this
Yes.
grief that she experienced,
Mhm.
this loss that she
Mhm.
experienced, and then it, you know, followed her into the cave and took her over in the
Mhm.
cave where you're probably most likely to lose your mind. So,
It also, I think, makes a whole lot of sense of the fact that the first thing that alerts her to the presence of the creatures is hearing the children, and that we keep seeing these families down
sure.
there. Like yeah.
Yeah.
So like again, I think
Oof.
there's a lot of ways
There's
to read it as true.
I love that. That's really
Mhm.
fun. That's so
Mhm.
interesting. Oh, I love that.
Ugh, okay. I like
Oh my
could
god.
have done a whole film theory rant corner about like is this film feminist, is it not feminist? There's been like a whole lot of debate about that. I honestly don't find that interesting. I've also been
Yeah.
talking for like an insanely long
I'm
time at this
surprised actually for
point.
this one, but I'm so happy there was so much
Again, like
on
it's
this
just so
one.
juicy. Like every single
I'm
part
happy
of
to
the
hear.
film, from how it was conceived to how it was lit, how the monsters were designed, everything that went wrong with the publicity, like there's
Yeah.
so much that's so interesting to talk about with it that
Yeah,
it
I'm
really
happy to
was
hear that for this movie. That
it
was a
was
delight
meaty.
to hear because I wasn't sure kind of
Yep.
going into these two what it was going to be like. So that makes me really happy. I've so many tidbits and I'm excited to rewatch it, like
Yes.
knowing everything that you said. That's going to be so much fun for me
It
to
it feels like a very
again watch again.
rewatchable horror film too. Like I feel like it's
It
really one where
is. Yeah.
you'll just like see more things especially because there's so many shots where there's like a crawler hidden in plain sight that
Mhm.
like you can kind of
Crawl
like almost play like Where's Waldo with the crawlers.
Yeah, yeah, that and, like, paying attention to, like, a different person every time is, like, a
Yeah.
fun way I like to rewatch this
Yes.
movie
Yeah.
specifically. Like, choose your own adventure
I love that.
character.
I'm sorry, my
Make it
brain is just now repeating the phrase "Where's Crawldo" over and over
Oh my
again, and
god.
I can't get out of
You
it.
can play Where's Crawldo.
Play Where's Crawldo?
TM, TM, TM. We have to make a little, Descent, Where's Waldo
Yes!
book.
Put
That
it
would
in
be
Iris
so
Toys in Silent
oh
Night,
my
Deadly Night.
god, that would be so cute. Oh my god, a little horror Where's Waldo would be, like,
I
the cutest fucking thing
know.
ever.
I mean,
Oh,
again, the creatures are
does that exist?
adorable. Like, I just
Yeah,
wanted
I
to,
love
like,
them.
they were so cat-like. I was like, I just want to give you a little nose boop.
They could be domesticated, right?
Yeah. Yeah, something like that.
Put a
A
little
little
bow
pet
tie on one
crawler.
of them.
Oh,
Little
I'm picturing
gentlemen.
like a young Frankenstein style putting on the Ritz scene with a crawler.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, there you go. I've never seen that movie, but yes.
we have to
In
cover that at
context.
some
In
point.
context.
It's definitely a comedy, horror comedy, but
Yeah.
like
Listen,
I
we might
think
need
it
some
counts.
levity here soon
Honestly,
after
yeah.
that one. We're
Oh
kind of
God.
do we want to
Do you
I
want
mean
to
on that
shout out
note,
what we're doing next? Yeah, I feel like now's
yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Do you want to go first? Because you came up with the idea for this, pretty
Well,
much. This
kinda.
point.
I feel like it's the only thing I could think of because like it's still like wintry
And it's still
vibes.
January. It's still like the start of
Yeah.
the new year. But
Yeah, and
like,
we have some stuff planned for February, so we're like
mhm.
I was trying to think like what's wintry that we've had on our list to do.
Yeah, that's not what's
Um
already planned for February.
yeah, so I'm gonna do a Dreamcatcher from I told you it was
2003.
2003.
Yes, I believe
2003.
that's what
So
you said. Let me go back up to the
yeah,
top of my notes. Yes, 2003.
yeah. Which
Um,
I'm very excited. It's been a little bit. I usually like watch it once or like every other winter. I feel like I like kind of pop it
oh.
on. It's very weird. There's definitely like comedic moments, but it's very like I
Mhm.
don't know, like visually, it's just very dreamlike. Dreamcatcher. I don't know
Mhm.
about that. And then
And
you're doing,
it's very like sci-fi too, right? Like
yeah,
sci-fi
we're
horror.
kind of like sci-fi. Yeah, it's Stephen King adaptation. I thought yours was too. It is not everybody. But yeah, yeah, it's very like sci-fi and weird.
Mhm.
I don't want to
It's
spoil too much if you haven't seen it either,
Oh,
so I'm
yeah,
just like
no, I
I'll leave
haven't.
it to the imagination for now.
Which was also like very difficult to try and find pairings for it without researching too much about it. But so,
Yeah.
this film is one that actually came up as like I googled like films like Dreamcatcher, and that's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
how I
Yeah.
found this film suggested. Which like the only thing I can see that they have in common is both being horror sci-fi that's very like visually engaging. But honestly, I
Mhm.
think that's kind of like enough. I'm going to be
Yeah.
covering The Cell from 2000, which is Tarsem Singh's first movie. He's the one who goes on to do The Fall, which is like
Ugh, one of the
cult
best.
classic,
Ugh.
gorgeous, so stunning.
Lee
Um,
Pace.
and oh, Lee Pace, he's so good, he's so hot,
I
so
mean,
gay,
so
just my
gay.
type.
I
Um,
know. All like 7 feet of him. I just want to climb him like a
I
tree.
know. Ugh.
God, I love that man.
And yeah, so this is Tarsem Singh's debut movie, which is all about the invention of this technology that allows a character to go inside the mind of a serial killer, and it's taking place inside the serial killer's mind, hunting to find where his latest victim is hidden before they
Mm.
die. Um,
Without saying too much, we also go inside mines in Dreamcatcher.
Yay!
So
Okay, so
again,
there
because I've
you
never seen The
go.
Cell. So
Yeah, so
yeah.
sci-fi inside minds, basically, is
Yeah.
our next
Yeah, yeah,
pairing,
yeah.
which does feel
Very
like very
cool.
January somehow. Like,
Right? We're all in our
yeah.
heads right now trying to figure out our
Yeah,
resolutions. Mine, Sienna texted
exactly.
me, so which is Dante's Inferno.
Research more about Dante. Ah,
Yeah, I'm excited for these. I need
I
like
am
I'm the
too.
cell looks stunning and
It
knowing that
really
it they go
does.
on to do the fall. I'm just like
Hmm.
that's a movie me and my two best friends like
It's
absolutely had a day where we
incredible.
bonded over that movie and
Oh,
watching it hungover for the first time I think it was the first
oh,
time for all of us. We were hungover. We went to IHOP that morning and we just like huddled up in my friend's apartment and
I
watched it and it was
love
like
that.
still one of my favorite memories in life. So,
That's amazing. Well, and it's
yeah.
I actually only saw The Fall a couple months ago for the first time. Like really, really
To
recently.
see
And
that
so
movie for the first time.
oh, it was amazing.
Gosh.
So
Yeah.
it's like still very fresh in my head.
Yeah, so going
The
into this
Cell,
will be
and it's actually a movie I've had a lot of pod people recommend me.
oh,
A friend of the
nice.
pod, Mark Garrett, actually gave me a VHS copy of it that's been sitting on
Nice.
my
Oh, you
shelf.
do have a
So
VHS. Cool.
yeah, so
Very
that's
cool.
I'm really excited for that one. So yeah, we're gonna
Yeah,
give
me
you some
too.
more like visually tasty,
Yeah. Head for.
psychological sci-fi treats. Yeah.
Yeah. This is fun. It's different than anything we've done before. So
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, which I'm
oh
excited
my
for.
goodness.
That was like a marathon. That
Listen, it's gonna
whew,
be, I mean, not that I've seen the sun in days, but I feel like I'm gonna crawl out and it's just gonna be darkness outside.
we're gonna crawl out like crawlers, and then
Truly.
we're not gonna be used to the sun. We're gonna look up at it, and we're gonna crawl
Yeah,
back
we're
into
little
our
mole
caves.
people.
La taupe.
Yeah, Latope.
La taupe.
Oh, Latope.
Oh,
The names in that movie, Latope,
it's so
Susie, and
good. Yeah.
Papillon.
Papillon.
Yeah, I'm excited for those. So
Me
thank you,
too.
everyone for listening and supporting and sharing. Obviously, me and Sienna are
Yeah.
doing this on our own and
Hmm.
doing this kind of under our own little guise and finances. So if you can share this with people, keep listening. We do have a support the pod tab as well.
Greatly appreciate that. You're all helping us cover the cost of keeping
thank
it running.
Truly, thank you, everybody. And then follow us everywhere on social at Splice and Splatter Pod. I'm trying to think of what else. I think that's kind of.
I think that's all our things.
We're gonna keep the new year.
Thank our people. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Thanks, Mama Travs in the other room, making sure this is all recording and giving us a countdown and fun facts. Much appreciated.
Thank you to Dina Sanama for helping me get my lighting set up, my camera set up, and for all of her feedback on the Appalachian Trail. Greatly appreciated for this episode.
Yeah, that's super cool. That's super cool. Thank you, Theo Schaefer, for doing our music, which I love every time.
Yeah. And thank you to all of you for listening. And until next time, this has been Splice and Splatter, the film podcast presented by us, where classic horror
meets modern gore. Until then,
we'll be right back.